Yes, we're on.
Welcome back to another episode of Footy from the Flat. We've got a massive Anzac Day clash today. The Bombers up against pretty good form. We also have Druzy, who we always have. You're not very exciting these days.
Oh,
Druzy.
come on, man. The novelty's worn off. But
It's definitely worn off.
got the big KDOS 38 in the house. Welcome, KDOS, to the stream. Thanks for making time for us, mate.
Guys, thanks for having me. This is an unbelievable setup, and I'm Toey, and
60 frames per second, mate.
It's actually 60 FPS today. I don't know. Let us know in the comments how that's actually going.
that means if they screen record, really clear in slow motion. So hopefully some good slow mo today.
It's something that I definitely thought about. It was definitely a part of
Just
the
like
appeal.
big hanger.
This game, it's a massive one, like a massive one every year. These two teams, like the start to the season, obviously Collingwood, it's been pretty amazing outside that loss to the Giants in round 0. Essendon, it's been a little bit cagier, but they've won their last 3 in a row now. How do we see this going, Kados?
Have Essendon won 3 in a row?
They've won 3 in a row.
What?
You can sneakily get 3 in a row in when you play like a West Coast one along the way.
They've actually played, so they've only played 5 games, one less because of that round 0.
Oh, it's so annoying.
Yeah. So they're one behind everyone. So they've gone 26-point loss to the Hawks.
Almost started admitting they were rebuilding again.
Yes. Yeah, they're not saying that as much anymore, are they?
No, they've straightened a bit.
Yeah. So then they've gone Port, 12 points, Melbourne, 39.
A loss to West Coast. I thought West Coast were the better team, but the Bombers just did enough to get over the line. Yeah, look, I don't know if we're doing
last post going, so that's obviously sort of a special moment. But the rain is coming down at the MCG. Doesn't it? Yeah. It's not raining hard too. It's like just that coming down.
And it's just glistening off the guy's trumpet. This is cinematic.
Yeah.
It is cinematic in 60 frames per.
Temperature as well.
Dylan, I don't know if just a quick interruption. I don't know if the 60 frames is making it choppier
Is it
on the playback. I feel like it's jumping frames. It's good. And then I feel maybe I'm
changes if that is happening. I'm going to throw some stats at you boys. So
Go.
Essendon, this is the game style part of it. Essendon, they're number 1. So just try to take all this in as we go here. Number 1 for uncontested possession. Number 17 for contested possession rate. Number 17.
sounds like a recipe for success, doesn't it?
Yeah, they are just a outside
Yes.
overuse sort of footy side.
High handball team. Short. Go with that uncontested footy. They're number 1 for ball retention when kicking the ball. They're number 14 for kicking threat as far as damage with those kicks and actually open.
This is a stitch up and a question without notice. Do you have ball movement? Do you know where they are for ball movement?
I don't know where they are. That's that new champion data.
Yeah.
Stat, you're right. That's speed. That I can imagine going off these stats.
Not very high.
It wouldn't be very high.
Yeah.
But yeah, haven't actually got that one there.
It was a couple of weeks ago when they played the Dees, it was just that chip them. It was so great for an Essendon supporter, but as a neutral / Dees supporter, it was so boring, so controlled, but it was smart. It's like we had flooded the back line and they did
Game last night that it was a really boring game to watch. I didn't feel that watching it as a neutral.
just not.
Camp. I don't necessarily think the game needs goals. Like if it's a bit of a tactical sort of chess match, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I don't need a shootout.
Like he's obviously coached at the Dees before,
Yeah.
got a little bit of IP, and he tried to bring something to the table that would quell our. Worked for a half and probably worked in the last quarter as well. It's just that third term where the Dees blew it out of the park.
Dylan can confirm viewers are experiencing cutting in.
There is
I don't know if that's
choppiness.
an in-stream fix.
It
Can
definitely.
you switch to 60 FPS midstream? Off 60 FPS?
I believe so.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to leave this with you guys while the
Yeah, that's fine.
New Zealand national anthem is taking.
That's a good
place.
time to have a break when the New Zealand national anthem.
New Zealand anthem is much better than the Australian one.
We'll discuss.
Yeah, I don't want to go with that on Anzac Day. No, the old New Zealand national anthem.
The bilingual thing. Yeah, well, currently working on the choppiness. We've never had any issues until Caden's come on, so I don't know if it's a... I don't know.
4K.
It makes you look good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When it's loading nicely.
Might be my new profile pic sort of stuff.
Yeah. Were you happy with your D's last night, DOS mode? How'd you get on?
Yeah, I was happy. Like, got the 4 points, doing the rack towards the end of the game. I didn't know that. Like, I knew Tom Fullerton was rucking for a long time in that last quarter, but I didn't know that Gawn and May and a couple of others basically sat on the pine to finish the game off. But yeah, I don't know. Going into the game, I would have taken a 20-point win. But when it got to 40, I smelt blood and I was like, oh, if we could get to 60, it would count earlier in the season. So it was a bit disappointing to let them back in it. But
you want those smashings, really, don't you?
Especially when it gets to 40 halfway through the third, you've got full control. You're 2 away from.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We're still figuring out the game plan. So we're young, we're clunky, we're inconsistent.
Well, I was at the game last night and I saw Gawn run off for Fullerton, and there was about good though.
Yeah.
Like you do like that. You don't like the margin, but you do like the fact that yesterday he did the job, got the chockies, and then went and kicked the feet up.
How's Bowie had 32 and Salem had 34?
Really?
Yeah.
Salem needed one of those games.
Yeah, he's actually having a pretty good season. Like, he's been in the footy abyss for almost like 2 or 3 seasons. He's just been sort of floating and hasn't been able to put together a year that resembled what he did in 2021, where he's in the All-Australian squad. But it feels like he's slowly getting back to it. And then Bowser's having a great year as well.
Yeah. No, we can talk about the D's when Dill's back on here, because I'm always going into bat for the D's and he isn't so convinced. But I told him, I was like, man, told you the D's weren't that bad. They were good enough to beat Freo. Yeah, well, no, I'm talking about the D's beating Freo, bro. It's hard to beat Freo. It's really hard. They're a really good team. Let's have a look at some of the would you rathers for this game. Looking at who would you rather from each team, sort of the matchup based comparison. So we'll look at it first. Dacos versus Merritt. I mean, I'd probably take Dacos ahead of anyone.
Yeah, I feel like Merritt can sometimes get Dacos numbers, but it doesn't look the same as a Dacos influence game.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm really harsh, but it feels like if you give Dacos, I don't know, 35 touches and 2 goals, it's really pivotal. He moves the footy. Dill probably has the stats on the meters gained, but I feel like Merritt can get like a 35 and kick 2 and you sort of, it doesn't feel the same.
I feel like he's come on a little bit in the last couple years to be more damaging. Well, who was playing that day when we were watching the footy with Rog and Will and Baz? Can you remember? It was Essendon and he just put him on his back in that first quarter. Was it Collingwood last year? It was a big game.
I can't remember.
I feel like Collingwood and Essendon played at the MCG last year after Anzac Day, and I reckon Essendon got the chocolates. I could be lying there. Maybe someone in the chat can come into bat.
Was that a Friday night? And that's when Essendon and everyone went, they're a top 4 side. And then they just slid for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I don't know. My timeline's not timelining at the moment.
Look at Skipper Dacos. He's just a thoroughbred.
Why is he going up?
Darcy Moore's out, so he's the skipper this week.
Right. Yeah, all this chat about Dacos, well, I don't know how much chat there is, but Dacos is the next captain of Collingwood. It's not even close.
100%.
Darcy Cameron or Draper? Well, Draper's not playing. He was in career best before the injury. Who would you have taken, Darcy Cameron or Sam
Darcy
Draper?
Cameron. Darcy Cameron's like a sneaky sort of B-grade ruckman, like probably that rung below DeConing, Sherry,
the big X, the X-Man they're calling him these
Lucky
days.
J.
Last week we were doing this and it was Collingwood and Brisbane and it was like Ashcroft or side bottom and it's like, oh, that's a thinker. But when you look at the lists, like Collingwood is obviously head and shoulders above. Last Anzac Day was a draw. So this feels like one of those games that form doesn't really play into at all. It's wet conditions, could go either way. Probably the most even one here is Josh Dacos or Nick Martin.
Yeah, I know it's an all Collingwood sort of selection, but I'm taking Josh Dacos. But Nick Martin is one of the premier wingman halfbackers in the comp.
Guys,
Yeah.
just to cut you off, I think I've solved the problem. I
How
think
have
we're
you solved
good.
it?
Can
Got
you
rid of the
just-
skippage.
Can we just go into the comments here? Is that any better? Everything's changed back to 25 FPS. Everything normal.
Yes.
I think it's all going to be working as smoothly as possible. I apologise for that. And what were you talking about?
We'll just hop into the chat real quick. We were talking about a bit of Nick Martin, Josh Dacos. We can get back onto that because we'll acknowledge the chat. Pommy and Oz is in the chat and says Druzy has a filthy collection of football shirts. I sure do. Josh Dacos ain't no Dan Curtin, says Gridio. Strange comparison.
Here we go.
Gridio loves his Adelaide boys, so we're on here though.
All right, quick predictions. I want to say Collingwood by 2 goals.
Collingwood by 33.
Collingwood by 33. I'm gonna go the Bombers.
Yeah, I rate it.
I'm gonna go the Bombers by 15 points.
Yeah, I respect
Maybe 6
that.
points. I changed it to 6.
Pommy came on last week and he was the only man that backed Collingwood in to beat Brisbane away. Memory almost brings one down. Pendlebury, DeGoey, little outside of the boot number. Oh, Dacos lurking already.
Deliberate.
That is deliberate.
Can we get a bit of volume on this?
Pay it.
It's a little bit of
Yeah, for sure.
Anzac spirit coming
pay
through the TV.
You got to pay that. if you're not going to pay that, you're not going to pay the rule at all, are you? He's got swept up in the moment. Goldstein back in this side too. That's crazy, isn't it? I think his last VFL game he had 25 touches and 40 hitouts.
Yeah, I reckon.
Can I post that? Is there any? I'm not
No,
doxing any sort of.
no, that's fine. What were you going to say, Drew?
Goldstein, every time I watch him, he's like a Toby Nankervis type. I know he's a bit older,
Yeah. No,
but
it's
he's just such a battler.
It's a good comparison. He's not going to turn any heads, is he?
Yeah, but you just know what you're going to get with him.
Yeah. I obviously watched most of his career as a North fan. And he was always, I feel like there was probably one season he had where he was all Australian.
Wasn't he close to winning a Brownlow one year? Todd
Surely
Goldstein?
not. I don't know.
Oh, you're a big anti-Brownlow man, but
If he was close to winning a Brownlow, that tells you everything you need to know about the Brownlow.
I
That's
feel like he was
absurd.
up there one year.
Do you feel like
DeGoey.
DeGoey, I know he's only been back for 2 weeks, but he's just, he's a soffit, isn't he?
He's a what?
He's off it.
He's off it.
Yeah. What would they say? He's off his tucker. Like he's, I don't know, like he's just,
Yeah.
he's not as clinical as he usually is. Doesn't have sort of that penetration at the moment.
With that kick, he's definitely off his tucker. That was off his shin.
Decam.
Collingwood's Anzac Day strip is average. What do you make of the Anzac Day kits, DOS mode?
Yeah.
Dacos.
Skipper.
Bang. He's not going to miss.
Oh my God.
He's not going to miss. He's Dacos.
Skipper. I think the teams don't nail the Anzac Day strips as well as they nail some of the other alternate kits. Like Gather Round, I know there's a lot of retro stuff at Gather Round, so maybe that's a cheat code. I think the teams do the Indigenous kits really well, but I just feel like incorporating some of the themes of Anzac Day, whether it's the poppies, is that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I think Essendon do theirs pretty solid because theirs is just like poppy galore.
But trying to incorporate like flowers and stuff like that, it seems to be a little bit tricky. Like some of the kits, like it's a great idea and it's awesome that they're raising awareness for the Anzacs and whatnot. But I just feel like aesthetically, if we're just basing it on how they look,
that's all we can do really.
some of them are a little bit lackluster. Like I didn't think the Dees was particularly that great last night, and I don't think the Adelaide one looks very good this season.
Collingwood
either.
don't historically do a different Guernsey that well though, do they?
Yeah,
They're
true.
that sort of a club, just that real traditional, just your black and white stripes. Have you seen the Giants one, the one that Tom Green designed?
No, I haven't.
I'm going to pull that up right now.
Yeah, try and get that up. That's like a, it's got the G, so it looks pretty similar to their general strip.
Oh, it's got
and
a
then
bit
it's got
of
a
camo.
camo G in the middle.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's definitely
That
up
is
there.
cool. Yeah, that is sick.
I rate that.
yeah. You got to get around that one.
One of the
but-
better ones. I'm sure Cardman did a video ranking them, so go check that out. Here's Dylan Shield running through the middle of the G. Sloppy kick. Very sloppy
Houston.
kick. Dan Houston back into the side. Good to see for football fans. Not for Essendon fans, though.
I feel like Collingwood are moving the ball well, considering the conditions.
Oh, Nick from outside range again, if he wants him.
Someone said in the chat, Nick Dacos getting his cheap goal again. He kicked it from 50 on a 45-degree angle.
Like, honestly-
while it's raining.
Is there even such thing as a cheap? Maybe like the Joe the Goose over the top goal.
I've kicked a couple cheapies in my time.
Oh, who hasn't? I love a cheap goal.
But none of them have been from 50 in the rain at the MCG in front of 90,000 at age 22.
I imagine that was tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
Surely.
Yeah, maybe it was. We when we lost by 180 last week, Caden's like running into an open goal, and they were like, "Don't let this bloke kick it."
Yeah.
Did they actually say that?
Yeah.
In the play.
Oh, Tim.
Bangs.
Tim Membry.
It's a bad start for my tip. Did I really mean that? Did I really tip Essendon?
You just wanted to be edgy, really,
I
didn't
think
you?
I did. It doesn't work for me.
What's the game after this?
The Dockers and the Crows.
Wow.
Yep. My Dockers.
Wow.
Yep.
That's a massive game.
One of the bigger games of the year so far.
Must win. Got to bank it at home.
You just don't bank wins against... Well, when you're Freo, you don't bank wins, but when it's against the Crows...
The Crows, what game did they play last
They
week?
beat GWS.
At home?
Yeah, that was a
low
good, gritty
scoring.
win.
So they didn't even travel 6-day break?
Well, they played Saturday
That's a good
night.
question.
Dockers would have had to travel from the G.
Same break.
Same break, but you got to incorporate a whole day on the flight for the Dockers. Man,
I like the Crows.
I cannot wait. I love a cheeky little WA 6 p.m. start sort of night game.
How
Yeah.
good is it on like a Sunday
Yeah.
when you just think it's all over and you want it to keep going?
Yeah.
You want the footy, you just want one more fix and you get that WA twilight game.
Yeah.
I love that.
Oh, it's the best.
Collingwood are looking super
Yeah.
dangerous and Essendon just cannot get out of their own half.
It's peppering season.
Deliberate?
It has to be.
No,
Was it an Essendon player that kicked it?
Langford was there.
It has to be.
Langford
though.
was there.
I'm like, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm a very good couch umpire.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
Talk us through that. What do you mean by that?
I just always go, that's deliberate. And there'll be 5 other people on the couch and they go, no, it's not. And then the umpire calls it. Or I'll go, he's holding him there.
Oh, so you're like predictively good.
I'm like preemptively,
Yep.
I see it, I call it. And then I'm on the same page with the umpires. And I don't like some of the deliberates that I
You're like,
call.
that was wrong.
Yeah, some of the I'll go. This is wrong, but by the letter of the law, me and the umpire are going to call it.
You know, sometimes though, that I feel like that's the feeling of the game, right? And you can tell that the umpire is going to get sucked into the moment. Like you could tell with that first deliberate out of bounds that he wasn't going to pay it.
I've actually off topic, but I've actually wondered if in 15 years the umpiring will be done from someone in the stands on the screen and not by people that have to run 15 kilometres a game to keep up with it. Because there's so many times where I go, he's been held. And I can see it from here. But imagine
Yes.
having like a wall of TVs and you're watching the contest and you... So maybe
How
we'll
would
move.
they tell the players? Would they all have earpieces
Yeah.
in? Or would there like something come over the speaker like holding?
Some like AI voice, like holding the ball.
There'll be speakers in the ball. And the ball would whistle.
You'd actually get an electric shock.
Everyone's got a wristband.
You know when
on.
someone like takes advantage? They get the ball and start like, shocking them.
Everyone's got meta goggles and it just comes up, free kicks, all the players.
Why don't we just play it on the computer then?
It's the way it's going. Bloody technology these days.
Kako dangerous here. I love a bit of Isaac.
Is that lazy ruck work from 2 metre, Peter? I think
reckon
it is.
Yeah, it's just that second ruckman who's just clumsy.
Do you guys buy into the decam hype this season?
Huh?
The
Sort
what
of,
hype?
well, Darcy Cameron being sort of hyped
Oh,
up as like
decam.
the
Oh,
next
right.
Max Gawn.
No, you.
Oh, 2 metre Peter just made him look like a sausage. I'm not buying into the hype after that contest, I'll tell you that much.
I don't think you can be the next someone at like 29.
No.
I would say that the next Max Gawn is like, and maybe he's probably too old to be called the next, but Tim English is 25. He's probably like the younger of the mainstay ruckman. He sort of grinds out a game like Big Maxi.
I have a theory on Tim English that
He's kicked it.
he has snuck that through. Essendon get on the board, so they only trail by 6 points. They've been fairly lackluster. I have a theory on Tim English, talking about that ruck conversation, that since the rules changed, the ruck rules at I think it was the beginning of 2024, that rule where you could sort of like put your arm up to protect, right? I've done a little bit of research on exactly what changed. Essentially, like back in the past, you'd have rucks like Nick Natanui, who used to just use his raw athleticism to be able to jump at the ball, and you kind of couldn't do that arm protecting thing. Now, because you can make contact, you can initiate contact and hold the person close, it comes into more of a wrestle.
Okay.
And that's why you've seen these ruckmen like Tristan Sherry, like Lloyd Meek,
Yeah.
even Sean Darcy. You've seen them succeed under that a little bit more than the athletic sort of beanpole ruckman.
Yeah. Darcy was so good at it he's back now, but like when he was like one of the better ruckmen in the competition, like it's almost like wrestling jiu-jitsu, like levers and like, yeah.
And it plays, I don't know if you guys caught, I don't know which Fox Footy show it was during the week, but they had Adam Simpson and John Longmire, and they were talking about how the centre bounce has changed around that. So since that rule's come in with the rucks, they talked about how the ruckman basically hits it now, instead of hitting it to like a spatial area, and the team runs these sort of set plays with their three midfielders.
Oh my
he
God.
hits it to a one-on-one contest. Perryman goes for
No
goal.
way.
He's kicked it.
Oh my God.
Perry
Sorry,
goat.
you were talking there. I didn't want to cut you off.
I'll
but
go back to it.
Just the ability of Collingwood there to keep the ball moving forward. Like they were getting tackled, just little handballs forward. That was an incredible goal. Incredible work rate from the Pies.
Yeah, there was like 3 or 4 times it felt like the stoppage was coming. And I wonder if that deflates the Essendon midfield / defence, where you're like, you're a bit tired. You're like, oh, it's going to stop now. Oh, no, it hasn't. Oh, it's going to stop now. Oh, no, it hasn't. And then, I don't know, the Collingwood, the way that they move the footy.
They just don't give up on the play the whole way through. And Essendon are like, we've laid the... Yeah.
3 or 4 times Essendon are like, all right, ball it up, please, please, please.
Would you guys say Collingwood, as far as per player on the field, are the highest IQ team? Like they're not necessarily the most athletic team, but each individual player, very, very high...
True.
Cerebralness, like your side bottoms, your pendles.
Joshy Dacos.
The prefrontal cortex.
The prefrontal...
Well, they're the most mature team, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Brain development.
It's funny that like the last 2 or 3 premiers have been the oldest team in the comp. And it's like, it's almost a game of just waiting until your team is the oldest team in the comp to contend.
Yeah. That gives me hope as a Dockers fan, because it's like, we're still really young, but it's like, I feel like we've got the talent to go, but you almost need the experience and the highs and lows and just the general experience to get there.
It's becoming a trend to have like 7 or 8 30 pluses now. Like Geelong did it.
Yeah.
I think Brisbane were probably in that more natural sweet spot, but they would have been in the top 2 or 3 of oldest teams, I would have said.
Well, when you got Zorko,
Danaher.
Yeah.
And then that middle crop of theirs are all like 28.
Oh, Dan
You could
Newsom.
argue with Brisbane, though, that their most influential players were quite young. But then do you, like, I guess the argument then is, do you need those older guys?
Oh, he's knocked it on purpose.
We'll come back to that. We were talking about this
They're
last...
just knocking it on.
Yeah, we were talking about this last week when they were playing Brisbane. They just... They gain meterage by any means necessary.
But that's smart in these conditions as well, not to overpossess the ball.
We could do that tomorrow, DOS mode maybe.
I think we're going to do it by accident and just jump at the mark and just fly through the back.
So you guys have a legitimate chance of winning tomorrow?
I would say...
The highest chance we've had this season so far.
I was going to go negative, but I'm the skipper and I have to lead from the
boys
front.
up.
So, we're a massive chance of winning.
Essendon trying to copy.
Pigs fly.
Well, we've got some big inclusions this week. Connor Rogers back in. Roaming has in.
Oh, I can't wait to run around with those blokes.
Is Cam playing?
No.
No Cam.
He's a mirage.
But yeah, some handy inclusions. Get down to Deakin tomorrow and watch us get a dub.
I got a big feeling Collingwood are going to score off this.
Well, Essendon have set up well behind the
Dangerous
ball.
kick.
That's a very
You
dangerous
should
kick.
score from this if you're Essendon.
Yes.
They
intercepts.
haven't won it though.
Oh.
And that's just bobbled up to Nick
another
Dacos.
cheapie.
Told you they were going to score off this.
Another Joe the Goose.
Missed. He doesn't miss those. You know, that's another stat for you for Essendon. They're ranked 18th for intercept marks in the competition, so they don't really win the ball back off you, in the air at least.
Come on, Zach Reid. You can do it.
How good of a pickup was Ben Mackay for them then? Like, if you're not doing what you're brought in to do, is he the highest paid player in the competition?
He's one of.
He was, but it's. I think that was
At the time, maybe.
At the time.
I think it was one where it's like he had like a 5-year contract, but to enable Essendon to free up their salary cap in the next few years, they paid overs for like 2 seasons.
Right.
So it's like say it's like 6 mil in 6 years, but for the first 2 years they pay like half of that.
Yeah.
So then in the back half of his contract, they've actually got a lot more money.
Gotcha.
So it was
Yeah.
one where he just got paid. But then, yeah, technically he was like one of the
That's
most
why I
paid.
feel like with like a Kane Corns who's always knocking those long-term deals, he's not really sort of considering that in the overall team build.
structure
That
of
like,
the-
yes,
yeah.
it's a long-term deal, but is it actually hurting the club? Not necessarily.
Well, I spoke to a player manager and I'm like, this was like 2 or 3 years ago. And I was like, why do they do the long-term deals? And he goes, the club gets so much flexibility.
Yeah.
Like they can
Yeah.
pay him a certain amount year one, or they can pay him a certain amount. Like they can back end it, they can front end it. Like the club. And when you see like a Petrarca, Clary, Cozzy situation, the D's have flexibility with the contract, but now have flexibility and leverage when players want to leave, because people will see a player signed for 7 or 8 years, but that like a lot of player movement still comes from contracted players. So the
Yeah.
club gets leverage and flexibility. So
That's
if
what
you're
I
a
think.
club, you would lock those players away. Like it's a
If you
no-brainer.
get it, if you get it wrong and you structure all your deals and the person behind the scenes doing the finances doesn't calculate it properly or things
Yeah.
dramatically change, I can see problems then. But I don't really see the point in just criticizing it every time someone gets a long-term deal.
Yeah.
There's probably a couple of really big, like, I guess, shockers, and they're just outliers where you've got something like what happened with Clayton Oliver, which isn't necessarily going to hurt Melbourne too bad, but obviously they wouldn't have foreseen that at the time, I suppose.
Yeah.
And the Jamara one, where, maybe he doesn't end up playing AFL again, but they're not common
But then
occurrences.
surely if he doesn't play AFL again, they don't have to pay him, surely. Or do you?
Penalty is missed.
I think if he's contracted, they technically would have to
Oh
pay
my
him, wouldn't
God. Yeah, that is bad then.
they?
Surely there's a clause in your contract though, like if you act like a delinquent.
I think the thing is that he's like, I don't want to comment without actually. I've got nothing, no eyes on that situation.
I've got a night at Electric, but other than that, I've not got much to go up.
Drizzy always references this night that he had.
Caden was there.
He was, yeah. Okay. It's just this like, all your information comes from that one night.
Yeah, everything leads back to that night at Electric.
Yeah. But yeah, long-term contracts don't really see the problem. You obviously at times it's going to come back to bite you, but it's rare.
They're talking about this next Cozzy Pickett deal, whether it's at the Dees or wherever he wants to play. Hopefully the Dockers, but those are only rumours. I'm not getting ahead of myself, but they're saying that this is going to be the biggest deal for a small forward ever. Ever.
You'd pay him though, wouldn't you? The way that he's playing.
Where does our salary come from? When we've got Brayshaw, Young, Tracy, Darcy, Jackson.
Well, they've all got long-term deals and you can move their money around wherever you want.
But yeah, you squeeze Cozzy Pickett and Shea Bolton into that, and then they offered Nathan O'Driscoll peanuts to say, and he did. So that's what happened there.
You do have a lot of young, talented players though, right? So there will have to be... But then again, you've had a lot of guys, I guess, walk out the door as well.
I don't know how much the actual profitability of the club plays into it, but I'm pretty sure the Dockers are one of the most profitable sporting organisations
Shouldn't
in
matter at
Australia.
all. Shouldn't matter at all.
So like if
For
you're
the-
shit with money versus good with money, your salary cap doesn't differ.
Yeah, everyone gets the same.
Everyone gets the
salary
same salary cap. So that side of it doesn't matter. Obviously, that helps to... That money from the outside helps to...
cap. Facilities.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
So you ultimately attract better players because of those sorts of things, but shouldn't necessarily help with your list.
Dylan Shield wants it today, I can tell you that much. Let's in the comments, I thought Freo's small stocks are pretty solid. Well, it's funny, we've gone from like the back end of Ballantyne, and then Switkowski came in and he was good for a bit, but he's always sort of in and out. And then we had like little Tom Emmett come in and Lockie Schultz was there, and it's like we had all these like battlers, and then it's like bang, Shea Bolton, Michael Frederick, Murphy Reed, and Cozzy Pickett wants to come and play for us. So it's just getting stronger and stronger every year, our small forward stocks.
Shea Bolton's huge.
He was the only one that looked like breaking the game apart for us last week against the Dees. Don't know how much you want to go into that game, DOS mode, because I don't. But
Do you guys want to have that conversation now? Kados does. He's like, give it to me.
oh, Hobbsy.
Hobbs.
It was in the past. You got to move on.
Yeah, that was 2 wins ago for the Dees.
Yeah. I don't know. I felt like it's not who you play, it's when you play them. is what
All right, David King.
is what David King says. And it felt like we got Freo on a good day, and it felt like they got us on a bad day.
By
And
a good day, do you mean you played them at the MCG?
I don't know. The MCG's never been like a fortress for us. Like GWS took 4 points off us there. Gold Coast took 4 points off us there. Like it's been a happy hunting ground for anyone who wants to come and pinch a little win.
Did you feel like in that game? I didn't watch that game. Did it feel to you like the needle was moving a little bit for Melbourne, as in you were playing better football? The scoreboard would have said that in the sense that you kicked a score.
We played an offensive brand that I think if it's brought most weeks, we would, barring going 0-5 and costing your season before it starts, be a hard team to play against most weeks. But also defensively, we weren't that great. So, I don't know. Last night we hold the Tigers, who I think would have kicked close to 100 against Gold Coast. We hold them to 30 or 40 points with 5 minutes to go before they kick 4 or 5 goals. And we looked better defensively, but we couldn't get the offense going.
You couldn't get the offense going, yeah.
So, I don't know. If it all clicks, you kick 100 and keep teams to 50, you'll be a powerful footy side. But
do you think that's genuinely like a handbrake thing, as in against the Dockers, you left yourself open and that helped you to score, and then you sort of tried to reel it back in and you went too far against the Tigers potentially?
So I listened to Goody's press conference, and he says that we're trying to learn 2 or 3 modes to play, and he basically said we might only have one down pat. So a couple of years ago when we were successful, we had one mode. It was contest, it was defense, it was clearance. We'd bash sides, we'd keep them to 50, we'd kick 70, and we'd win. And then when Craig McRae went to work and embraced imperfections and just knocked the ball on, and there was this chaos, kamikaze, kick it into the middle type footy, it opened us up. Like that killed contest and defense forever. And now we're trying to learn that handball game. But last night, so this is what Goody said. Goody said, if a team, potentially like Freo, give us heaps of layers, we'll be able to go this new mode with the handball, which is what we did successfully. It still exposed us. We conceded a big score, but we got the job done. He goes, last night, Richmond didn't give us layers. They just flooded the back line. So last night he was saying we did a bit more control, a bit more kick mark, change the angles. So it's like maybe we're okay at our handball game when we get the opportunity to play it, but maybe we're 2 or 3 modes away from having a complete sort of game plan now, because it'll take 2 or 3 different modes to win games of footy in 2025.
It's so true. The difficult thing there is who you're up against and what they let you do.
Yeah,
is the key takeaway there, isn't it? Like you come up against a really good defensive side, they're not going to give you that time and space on the ball. So
then you got to be really on with your kicking, your control. Don't bomb it down, because we were doing that a little bit last night because we couldn't get the handball game going. We were just thumping it long.
That's the one thing that seems almost like imprinted on Melbourne DNA. It's like the bombing, because it was the forward half territory game, right? Like you want the ball in the forward half at any cost, and teams are just so good at cutting that off now.
Yeah,
and it's those players like it's Viney, Oliver Petrarca, those guys that almost can't get it out of there.
Yeah,
like you can't unteach them.
Yeah, especially when the heat's on and like teams are pressuring. You just go back to what you know, which is just dump kick.
Speaking of heat and pressure, there's plenty of it in this game, and that ball is sliding around like a bar of soap. Not for Jamie Elliott, though, who's in great form.
I love Jamie Elliott.
Why don't you marry him then?
Talk about IQ.
Yeah.
Isaac Quainer kicked it into him.
Great tackle from Quainer.
That's quick wit.
Should give him a pat on the back. Lipinski handballed it, and they stole it from the defence. Steele got that. Anyway.
The one thing I noticed about Melbourne last night that sort of jumped off the page was probably those back flankers. Not that you'd necessarily think that's like a sexy position, but like Bowie was.
We've got weapons there, I think.
Well, you got serious weapons. I think the two are like Rivers and Windsor.
Yep.
The ones that can really step out of traffic, really drive you through. Like, and Bowie's solid as more of that. He's less penetrative than those other guys, but just for control. I think that's really good. And then you bring McVie back in. McVie probably almost lets some of those guys do what they want to do offensively because he can lock down pretty well. So it looks like the balance there is pretty good at least.
McVie can do it with driving with his legs. Like he can zip through the lines. Windsor can do that as well, but then can also use his foot skills. He butchered the pill a little bit last night. Bowie's like the most reliable 22, 23-year-old little back pocket that I've ever seen. Like, he's just been cool, calm, and collected for a long
It
time.
feels like he's been a player for like 10 years.
And now he's getting so much more of the ball. So he used to get like 15 touches, super reliable, make good decisions, but then lock down one of the small forwards.
Yep.
And just go about it sort of unannounced, like just goes about his business without much fanfare. But now he's starting to get like 30 touches a game, using it really well. He's becoming like a genuine contributor.
Yeah.
And then Salem, who was in footy purgatory for 2 or 3 years there.
What is Salem doing at the moment?
Well,
is he
he-
locking down more? Or
Well, he had 34 last night. So he's starting to get back to his best as well. So you look at that half back line and you go, wow, like they've got so many options.
do you think they kind of, like Goodwin changes that a little bit? Like he'll unleash a couple of them and then sort of get them to come back and sort of, invert and sort of lock down a little bit. And then the other two come, it's like sort of in waves
Yeah,
almost.
probably.
Great kick from Dacos into the corridor there. Sets up
Houston.
Elliott again. Oh, Elliott's dropped it. Oh, that's got to be soccering in danger. You've gone in with
I
the toe. We got a comment here from Will Taylor saying, how are you watching Pies and Dons? And Caden is still talking about the Dees. It's a rolling gag. Shout out Ball Magnets. Shout out to Will Taylor.
Dales McGee.
I wish Shield was playing tomorrow.
I know.
Elliott.
Oh, he's been busy, Elliott. Oh, you can't let Bobby Hill get out the back, can you?
Oh, Goldie.
Todd Goldstein, son of Drews. Just dropped
I
it.
like Roberts.
Yeah, Roberts is good actually. He's having a really good season.
I haven't got enough intel on him. I'll have to get back to you on that one.
50. That's a mark.
That wasn't a mark.
I reckon he marked it.
Was it John? No, it's bad.
Let's see
I
my,
thought he
let's
was
see
more
my
of a
couch
small
umpiring.
forward.
Oh.
Wooden Spoon data. He loves his data. He says, for me, Melbourne's problem is with their kicking. They're the second least dangerous with foot and have a below average retention rate. Lean more to the halfback side, but is also below average for halfback retention.
I think that's fair. I think that's kind of what we spoke about with like Oliver, Petrarca, Viney. Not necessarily that any of them are like terrible kicks or anything, but they almost have an old DNA imprinted on their brain, and they just sometimes.
I tell you what, though, the old DNA was out for full show against the Dockers, and it did look like the Melbourne of old. Like they were
They
just
can still
dominating
beat
centre
teams up around the
clearances,
ball.
which I hate because we're meant to be that good new team. That's in the back. Come on now.
So I reckon if you touch someone and mark it, that should be a mark. Unless, like, when you shove someone where they,
So,
like,
well, yeah, it's a push.
He plays for it though.
I would.
That's pushing the back.
Yeah, true.
What were you going to say though, Caden? He's kicked that back to
With
them.
that,
Yeah.
with the push in the back, I find, yeah, I don't know. That one was a push, but you know when someone will be running back and a forward will sort of just hold the space, don't push them, but sort of work them under, and everyone goes, that's pushing the back, and I go, no, I'd actually prefer like the forward be able to like protect the space and mark it, but if you do that and you don't mark the ball, I like that that's called like a block, like you haven't got to play on the ball, so it does.
So you're almost rewarding the outcome.
I'm almost rewarding the mark. So if Bobby Hill had done that and it went out the back and he didn't touch it, he's pushed him out of the play. He hasn't. But Bobby Hill's done it in order to mark
mark the ball.
It's not an illegal, like that push hasn't injured him or got
It's
him
an interesting
high
way
or
of looking
anything.
at it.
So when they push and they mark, I almost go, well, that's a mark.
Yeah.
Like
No, it's
don't be,
interesting. I've
don't
never
be
thought about it
sitting
like
under
that.
the ball in order for someone to work you under it like that. Like
Yeah.
that's bad defense.
That would be difficult for the umpires to work out, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, in some ways it would be, and then it wouldn't because you would just be paying the outcome. But then you'd have to still understand whether it was a.
It just
push
reminds
in
me
the
of a
back.
block. You know, when someone, yeah, like a block in the ruck. If I block you and I don't get a hand to it, they call it a block. But if I block you and I do get a hand to it, it's fine.
Yeah.
So I almost don't mind. Like if I work you under it and then none of us get the ball, it's like, well, you've pushed me out illegally. But if I work you under it, maybe that was a little bit too in the back. But if I work you under it and I mark it, it's like, what are you doing standing under the footy? Being able to get worked under it like so easily.
Like you shouldn't be there
so
in the first
passive,
place.
Yeah.
Yeah, got you. I just feel like Collingwood are absolutely all over the Bombers at the moment. And if it wasn't for the scoreboard,
I think like their pressure and tackling hasn't been bad. Essendon, they're only a couple kicks behind, but yeah, just the quality in the front half.
I
is
don't
the
remember them
biggest
having
difference.
like any chains
Yeah,
of just moving the ball forward, whereas Collingwood would just seem to have like, look at that from Dacos though. Like, how do you compete with that? That was super unnecessary from Dylan Shield there too. Like he didn't really have to.
Yeah, he just wanted to get a scalp.
Yeah. Oh, it's back there.
Yeah, I didn't think that was a free kick for Dacos. If it was going to be soft. Pendlebury, long down the line. No.
Goldie.
Quarter time at the football. A wet start. A bit of a weird one. High pressure game.
I think the positive for the Bombers there, it's only 15 points.
Yep.
So not a lot of damage done on the scoreboard. Have a quick look at the stats here. So
Give me the stats.
I mean, Pies are 20 up on disposals approximately, 18 inside 50s to 8.
Yeah.
So they're really keeping the ball in the front half like they like to do. Collingwood 3 goals from 18 inside 50s. Essendon 1 goal from 8. So it's a similar goal efficiency. Clearance is 13 to 7 in favour of the Pies. Mostly that's been done from stoppage clearance. So pretty much a domination, I would say, as far as those like fundamentals.
I'm so I don't know why I'm surprised, but Collingwood are just back to being Collingwood again, aren't they? Like, had a bit of a blip last year. I knew they'd be good this year, but just how professional they've been they're 5-1, top of the ladder. Like,
yeah.
nuts.
I thought they'd have a few coming into the season. I think I tipped them to finish 8th, so just inside the 8. I didn't know if they'd be able to completely change things back to that, what they did in 2023 when they won the flag. Like it was that full-on defensive half transition, move the ball, Dacos off half back. And I didn't think they'd be able to get back to that, which they sort of haven't. They've sort of kept with that 2024 brand, but just made it a little bit better, like with the forward half game. That was probably where I didn't see the improvement coming, but they've done it in a different way. So I definitely rate what they're doing.
It's just like, I don't know why any other club, I guess Richmond had their hand forced where they had to go to the draft because they had so many stars that they had all accepted that the chapter was over. Pretty keen to move on, some keen to go back to WA, get home. So it forced Richmond to be like, well, we're going to get so many picks. Let's really cash in on a really good draft. But if you're not forced to do that and you finish 7th or 8th or 10th for the year, I just don't understand why every team doesn't do what the Pies did and just stay in the window by adding Perryman, Houston, Membry. I feel like I'm missing one or two there, but Geelong do it every year. Like, you will never bottom out if you get 3 25-year-olds every season into your team because they're just the perfect age and you're just the perfect age demographic forever. And Port have done that recently. When Koshy came in, he said, we'll never bottom out again. So Port every year just get like Asava, Alir, Horn Francis, I guess, was 19 when they got in. But they've got a philosophy where
Rioli was another one.
If you just bring in 3 or 4 24, 25-year-olds every year, your age demographic won't change, essentially.
Cobb in the comments has come in and said, fair point, but probably not a luxury that all teams have. And this is a conversation that we've had a bit DOS mode because Fremantle have become a quote-unquote destination club, whether that's because people want to play for us or people just want to go to WA. But the inclusions we've had over the last few years with Jordan Clark, Luke Jackson, Shea Bolton, maybe Cozzy Pickett to come into that. Because it's a 2-team town, we have that luxury to maybe not bottom out again if that's the new mould. But like a team like Melbourne, a smaller Melbourne team, players that maybe go up to the Gold Coast or over to WA that want to come back to Melbourne are always going to want to go to Hawthorn, Carlton, Collingwood,
if you're
Geelong.
Harry Perryman and you just want to, you're a decent player, like above average player, you want to come to Melbourne, you're not going to be sniffing around North Melbourne, are you?
Well, Lockie Schultz was like not rumoured to leave Freo the whole year in the lead up to it. And then after the season finishes, he's like, I want to play for Collingwood next year after they won the flag. It's like, how can you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so reported throughout the whole season, Melbourne were in for Cumming. We were in for Peatling. We were in for Houston, Perryman, and for a range of different reasons, we couldn't land one of them. So I think that philosophy stands up because everyone gets a first-round draft pick. Like, whether you finish first or last, everyone gets a first-round draft pick. So you can always bring in top-end talent. Like, I know there is a little bit of a difference between a top 5 pick and the last 4 or 5 selections of the first round. But if you're good enough in the draft, you can keep adding an 18-year-old to supplement that younger part of your squad. But yeah, like Adelaide, I guess it's a 2-team town. South Australian kids who want to go home, like Alex Neil-Bullen, Peatling, Cummings, bang. They're now one of the best sides in the comp off one.
I will play devil's advocate though, as a bad example of that, and it actually is Richmond, as in coming off the flags to try to bounce again. They went Taranto and Hopper.
Yeah.
And that probably...
Yeah, it's you're dancing with the devil when you're doing that. West Coast with Tim Kelly.
Yeah. Like there's no, it's not all, it's not a perfect science of like, you just top up again.
Who's the worst example? Well, I guess Hawthorn tried with O'Meara, Mitchell, and they couldn't redo that premiership success.
But they don't feel like they really smashed the draft that hard, Hawthorn, to get back to where they are now, which being a side that's competing there.
Do you know what I think the biggest difference in all those examples, the teams that struggled, which is kind of odd, I suppose, in some way, but the ones that, like Richmond and the Hawthorns, that struggled to go again, they paid big draft capital for the players that they went after. And the other examples that we're talking about with like Perryman and the guys that went to Adelaide, there wasn't actually much that they had to pay for them. That shouldn't really hurt you in the short term, but it does hurt you in the long term.
Were they like unrestricted free agents like Neil Bullen and Perryman? Testing you now.
I can't remember exactly what they were. Did they have to? I don't remember them having to pay big draft picks for those guys though.
What did the Dees get for Neil Bullen?
28.
Yep.
That's incredible. Like, I know like West Coast might get like a compensation for Oscar Allen, and you know Oscar Allen had one good year. We were speaking about Oscar Allen a lot last week, but like Neil Bullen for you guys was the heart and soul, one of the best small forwards in the comp.
Can you believe that's basically the same pick that we paid for Caleb Daniel?
Yeah, right.
For Neil Bullen.
Yeah.
I'd way rather Neil Bullen.
I think...
Second quarter is underway.
I think we got Shane McAdam for 28 and then sent 28 for Neil Bullen, or whatever the mix was. So it essentially was like Shane McAdam for Alex Neil Bullen, and that doesn't feel very fair.
Oh, so there were later pick swaps as well.
I can't remember. It's just like the first year it was we got McAdam for 28 and then, or whatever, or we gave, we got McAdam, they got 28, and then the year later we got 28 and they got Neil Bullen.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But you guys got 28 in a better draft.
Yeah.
Would be the kicker.
The rebuttal.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know where that went though.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to think that too. Who did you take?
I don't know if was it this year?
Did you trade it with
You might have traded
Essendon?
it.
Yeah, we probably traded it.
Yeah. Because I only remember you guys taking Langford Lindsay, and then you took
Johnson.
Riak went to Sydney, didn't
50?
he?
Yep.
You took Mentha?
Mentha late, yeah.
Yeah.
And Aiden Johnson.
That's right.
Nick
He
Martin.
wasn't that high though, was he? He wasn't 28.
He was 40s.
Nick Martin's taking a mark inside 50. There was a weird one there where players marked the ball. The Collingwood player, I don't know who it was, but came forward on the mark and his shoe fell off. He was standing like 2 metres in front of where the mark was. Do you call that 50? I don't know. We'll see the replay here.
Luke M saying Geelong has it perfectly is such a great observation, because Geelong are a Victorian side. So you get all the kids that want to come back to Victoria, but then they've got a point of difference where...
Oh, that is hot. Oh, wow. That was such a good kick. Sorry,
they've got a point of difference where they're not battling with 10 other Victorian sides, because if you're not choosing between Geelong and Collingwood, you're either choosing like Collingwood or Geelong. Like it's not like they're competing for the same people. People who want to live in Geelong for a specific reason.
I believe with how Geelong did that though, it's more calculated than it actually looks like in a positive for them. Like they made that a selling point.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that people used to see it that way.
No, they didn't. In the last 15 years, being able to sell the farm life, to be able to sell because Geelong is a mini Melbourne. Like I lived in Geelong, grew up in Geelong, and it's very different to like a Ballarat or a Bendigo, which does feel quite regional.
Oh, Jamie Elliott. Get out of town, brother.
Oh my God.
Like the cafes, the restaurants, the nightlife, the events that Geelong have. Geelong have an AFL side. So they're basically, it's sort of like, it almost reminds me of like a smaller Adelaide, almost like a little Hobart.
Yeah.
Like it feels like a capital city without being a
I got
capital city.
Hobart vibes.
Yeah,
being a
yeah.
Tasmanian, like the first time I went to Geelong. But it shows you how much football clubs, how vast they are in what they have to do.
Yeah.
You have to be on those things. You have to be pioneering.
Yeah.
And you have to be hiring good people in those roles. And that's what I always talk about with the Melbourne clubs. And Druzy will probably say I'm having a bit of a sook because I'm a North fan
stop
here.
sooking, Dill.
But we don't have those people. We don't attract those people that make those decisions. It's like we're always, because we're being a smaller Victorian club.
Something that I was speaking about with someone yesterday was like Hawthorn and Geelong have pretty much been competing. Oh, Nick Dacos out of the middle. I'm sorry. He's just arched the back.
No, he's tightened the bum. He's arched the back. And he's
tightened the
kicked
bum.
1 goal 3.
He's actually missed 2 of those.
That's iconic, hey? That's like the Dacos arch back. It's almost like the Josh Kennedy stutter step
Yep.
type thing.
Will Taylor describes that as he tightens his butt cheeks and arches the back.
There would be some clenching.
Is it going to stay in? All right. Benefit of the doubt there.
That looked out of bounds to me. Yeah.
Let the boys play.
Let the boys play. That's
boys
it. Knock it off. So the person I was talking to is a West Coast fan, and he's like, "Oh, West Coast is shit, yada yada yada." And we're talking about, could have let Gaff go, shouldn't have done the Kelly thing. But when you think of clubs like Hawthorn, Geelong, probably Collingwood as well, I feel like the players know what it means to play for the club, and like the culture that has been passed down for so long is almost expected of you every day when you walk through the door. Like, I feel like, I know I'm going on a weird tangent here, but like West Coast have completely lost the prestige that they once had and almost like the arrogance that they had.
Yeah.
Like they've completely lost their mojo as a club to the point now where the players don't actually know what it means to play for West Coast.
Yeah. I think that that's interesting. And I think certain clubs can get that back because I think West Coast will always be a powerful club. Like they're not just going to suddenly lose that fan base.
No,
so I think they're
always
going to be able to get it again.
Richmond lost it for a 20-year patch.
Yeah, for sure. When I was a kid, Richmond were like, Richmond fans probably get annoyed at saying about that, but they were a bit of a joke. Like they were the team that finished 9th every year.
Yeah.
If not, they were wooden spoon every other year sort of thing. Like it was, and when they got good, it was hard to accept that they were good.
Like North in the 90s were pretty fearful, and now teams can lose it for periods of time.
I don't think the thing is with North though, I don't think we've ever been, even in our good patches, like we've been scary for a period, but we go back to for large periods of time being just a small club again sort of thing.
When I was at Box Hill last year, like they did some training sessions out at Waverley. And when you walk through the doors and you see the banners of like Mitchell, Dunstall.
Waverley looks epic too.
It is. And it's like you can feel the history of the club and like be a part of that. So like Richmond, even though they're in a new era, they have to ride the wave of the success that they had to show the players what success is. Because if you lose touch of that, it's a long way back to get there. And I think that's what like Hawthorn have probably been the most successful club pound for pound over time because they've competed every decade.
And that's the thing with West Coast though, with getting it back. They still
no way.
The pickup from Membry.
That was a soccer off the ground. Membry's won like 2 or 3 ground balls in the last couple of inside 50s.
He loves the wet.
I felt like that was a scoop or throw from Pendlebury, but the soccer off the ground and then the pickup by Membry for the finish.
You called it though, Kados, the kick into Setterfield. I think it was Kako.
Yeah.
Went inside.
Gresham
Gresham
pulled the
was
kick
it?
and they should have marked it.
Yeah.
Is it just one of those days like Easter Monday, like Hawthorn were just butchering the ball and sort of lost them the game? Like Essendon just keep butchering it?
I don't know. I don't know if they're actually in the contest much. I got excited when Durham came tearing out of the centre bounce beginning of the second quarter. But
throw?
I reckon
it's
that's
probably
just
fine.
Scoop?
Shovel?
Little scoop?
I'd like a...
Spade?
He might have, like, if he sort of punched it, I think it's fine. But if he did the, like, actual...
Back to the culture stuff. Apparently, Adam Uze tore everything down and said,
he did. He walked in and they had like posters of the premiership sides in the office where they meet. And he goes, look, I don't think we're going to get very far if we keep referring to it and keep just looking back at it. And he's like, we need to start afresh. And he's like, I'd prefer if the decor got changed.
There's also a mentality in that, isn't it? That there's sort of an expectation that you're going to be good, and at some point that could seep through as well.
There are some teams that have been plagued by their history. Like Carlton supporters mention it often that they'll finish bottom 6, bottom 4, bottom 6, and every couple of games they roll out their premiership stars from the 80s and they just talk about how they've got 16 flags and they sort of just live in the, we've got 16 flags.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, no, it's been a long time since the last one. We're really hungry for that 17th. And I feel like you look at Carlton and Essendon a little bit, they wouldn't be doing this, but it seems like as a club, because they have won the most flags in the competition, they rest on their laurels a little bit.
It's subconscious, I think. It's not overt.
Maybe it's a defense mechanism. Like we're struggling at the moment, but we've got 16 flags.
We're that team. And probably like we talk a bit on here about the Premier League, like Manchester United are probably going through that a little bit as well and haven't been able to adapt to that coming out of that really successful period. And yeah, it definitely happens. And it's not something... I don't know how you actually control that, like how you change that narrative.
Maybe walking in and ripping the posters down is like a good step in the right direction.
Well, one of the biggest, I was watching a clip the other day, one of the biggest focuses of Sir Alex Ferguson when he came in, really tangenting here, but he was like, you've got to remember the Busby Babes who were in the 1958 Munich air disaster, lost the whole team, like 20-something people died. The Dons are on.
Lang.
Save the Munich air disaster because
the Bombers.
That was huge.
Why have I forgot his name? It's
Langford.
I just completely brain farted then.
He's one of those players, to be fair.
I like him.
Oh,
he could have won the game for him last Anzac Day and he shanked it late. Anyway, Munich air disaster. So speaking to the culture, it was like they had to rebuild from the ground up and within 10 years they had won the European Cup and it was like every United player that ever came through the door under Alex Ferguson, he was like, if you're going to be a United player, you need this instilled into you. Like, this is the culture of the club. This is the fabric. We're fighting. So, I don't know. That's the culture that Sir Alex built at United. So, yeah. Back to you, Dylan.
No, that's interesting. I was sort of seeing where you were going with that at the end. But, no, it's interesting. And it probably even brings in, like, it got me thinking then when you're talking about Alex Ferguson, that I guess like coaching philosophies and how you go about it with younger generations as well.
Kako.
Cack.
Oh, no.
He's so dangerous. Yeah, like you're talking about Sir Alex Ferguson. He would have been like definitely that era. Mm-hmm. It was like hard. But then those sort of same coaches not being like having to kind of adjust. It's a different conversation, but having to adjust to like the newer generation.
Oh, Caddy. Too many vodka lemonades at Electric.
Was he there too?
He was.
Was he really?
He was. And he was a player that I didn't recognise.
Nobody's safe from that night. Hey, Everyone was there.
Everyone was there.
Crispin.
He's one that like doesn't look as big in person and he's just got that baby face. But yeah, anyway.
He is pretty small for a key forward. Low 190s.
Yeah, 193.
Sounds about right.
That's sort of Kerno-ish.
Yeah.
It's funny because Jacob Van Rooyen is 195. Yeah. And I just go, man, I want my key forwards to be 200. Like, I love when you get to that 200 centimetre mark and there's not really many defenders that are taller than you. But at 195...
Good lead, Kako.
Harris Andrews stands over you. Darcy Moore stands over you. I reckon the Mackay twins probably stand over you.
Yeah, they're 200.
So... But there's no reason at 195 you can't. Like, it's funny, Josh Tracy looks like a tall, imposing 195, but Jacob Van Rooyen looks like a small, has to really leap for it, like Jack Rewalt, 195.
He does, yeah. I think we were having that conversation too. I feel like that's the thing with Amiss.
Yep.
Because he's about 195.
Yeah.
And Druzy sees him as like a Bailey Fritsch.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think he's like just a key forward.
Gunston Bruce type. I reckon.
Bruce is really small.
Maybe Fritsch at
Jai Miss doesn't play like a big, bustling, contact, crash and pack type
but
forward.
I don't think he's also good enough. He's
like
not like a cat
enough
on the ground like a Gunston or a Fritsch.
Yeah.
So he's sort of like, then it's like, what are you?
But I think he's, when he's in form, he's a bit of a cat on the ground. He can be a cat on the ground if he plays higher up. Durham.
Bang.
Hit the target, brother, and he has.
Here they come.
They're back, 15 points.
See the Bombers fly up. Here they go.
Take away Zach Merritt. He doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Who's Essendon's, I'll say, most exciting
Sam Durham.
future product?
Sam Durham is that guy. Doss?
Who would you take?
Future.
You can take any player out of the Essendon team outside of Zach Merritt.
If I'm
right
starting
now.
a new club, I would take Durham. Like, I'm not saying like for Freo I want Durham because I'm happy.
Tassie. You're the coach of Tassie.
Yeah, coach of Tassie, I'd take Durham.
What's Durham's ceiling?
That's the question, I think.
Is he just like going to be...
He's pretty well rounded, isn't he?
Yeah, but...
He's a very good player.
He looks like Petrarca there. Just the build. I don't know.
How old is he?
He's young. He's 20. He was a mid-season draftee.
Yeah.
23, I want to say.
23.
Be around that.
I'll wrap him up. Dacos ball. Merritt's got him.
I hate that from Merritt. That is the worst.
What did he do?
The shove in the back where you give someone whiplash. I hate that.
Yeah.
Like the shove in the chest is fine.
Go Bombers, go.
They've got a bit of momentum here.
Caddy.
I love that movement.
Shield.
Go through.
Oh, Durham. What's his ceiling? It's another goal.
That's massive.
Wowee.
Sorry about
Here
the
we
claps
go.
there. I got excited.
I would take Caddy.
I think I would too. I think that was the player that I was going to say.
Yeah.
Essendon just bringing the heat now.
It's good.
Well, they were sort of bringing it before, but it was pressure to a point, and now they're just like, no, it's going to overflow
But
this.
it was good pressure to hang on. Like they were
Yeah.
just like hanging on.
And they're happy to take a tackle. I think that's been a directive here because they're sort of taking the game on a little bit more.
Durham was the bloke that brought that to ground.
Yeah, I know.
Is he a left footer? No, he just kicked on with his right. He's good on his left.
Yep.
This, pushing the back. Ugh.
That's the thing. If I'm taking anything out of Durham's game, he's so competitive. He just wants it, doesn't he? Like he
got blue undies
competed
on.
in the air. Just
Will he
brought
be
that ball
better
to
than
ground.
Perkins when
Yes.
it's all said and done?
Yes.
I think he'll be I think he will, but I don't think he's necessarily more talented.
Oh, sorry, Will Setterfield.
I think he's a spud.
Will Setterfield?
Yeah.
I think
He's
so.
the example that not all big-bodied mids are good.
There was no hesitance there. I like it.
It's just, yeah, he's
Don't get him started
he's
on
the
Jack
opposite
McRae.
of Durham. I think he's sort of doesn't love contact.
Uncharacteristic errors occurring.
Stop shoving people.
Oh, well, he's the spiritual leader.
Spiritual
Get
leader.
up there. Oh, Hobbsy.
Good boy, Hobber.
Collingwood just losing their defensive shape a bit here and offensive. They sort of sometimes they're just in flow state. They know where their attack is going to go, and they just sort of lost it there. Easy intercept mark. I think it was Zach Reid that took it, and then slingshot it all the way back the other end.
This is sort of synonymous with the modern game, though, right? Like you're not going to have it your way consistently throughout the day. Essendon are going to have a period of momentum.
And every team talks about like how good you are at sort of riding the momentum or
Yep.
sort of shutting it down as quickly as possible.
Perk.
Bang.
Oh, he hasn't.
Percocet.
Oh.
Molly Percocet. That's a Migos song.
I'm so happy they're giving us something here, the Bombers. This is good. They
That's
do give
instrumental.
you that, don't they? Like they're a they've been a disappointing team for a long time.
Yes.
But they will have moments.
So they'll pop up and beat you at the MCG
Yeah.
in August when you need a win to make finals. Yeah, they do that sometimes.
Did that happen to you, Drizzy?
No, maybe. Those are rumours.
That's a good finish.
They're getting to work around the stoppage, the Bombers.
Durham.
Durham and Merritt are starting to cook. Where's Perkins' best position? Is it wing? Is it high half
It's not
forward?
wing. I think it's...
Mid?
Is it in the guts?
I'd like to say it's mid. I don't think he's good enough, though. I think it's sort of like a third tall.
Third tall.
Yeah.
I thought he was like
Is
just
the third shortest out there?
It's 188, isn't he?
188.
187.
Wow.
Yeah. It's maybe like you wouldn't play him, maybe more like high half forward.
Yeah, high half forward, I reckon.
I feel like high half forwards, though, they need that more sort of
Go, Todd.
low
Go,
center
Toddy.
of gravity speedy guys, like
Go.
fast feet.
I thought that is Perkins. Side bottom, he's the one right now that's really getting it done for the Pies.
Take possession. Will.
They're just trying to gain meterage, though, aren't they? Shield is having one of those games that he has once a month where he
Yep.
just dominates.
We got any chat going, Drews? I feel like we
Martin
haven't
on the wing.
engaged.
I think if
Tim
Essendon
Diskin's
win,
floating around.
all their Anzac... Oh, that's a crazy comment. I'm not reading that. I should probably read it before I read it. They were talking about the Clanger goal assist before from Kako. How he just absolutely butchered it. And that got them going.
What's Disco up to?
Disco asked a question.
The great man.
Tim, do you know Disco? Tim Diskin?
Don't know by name.
He is an Olympian, a medalist, and he's
Wow.
been a big time supporter of all of our stuff. Dees, man. He wanted to know who will be the first expansion club to win a flag. I would have said GWS for the last 10 years, but now the Suns are looking pretty good for the next 3 years.
I'm
I reckon-
still on GW for me.
Yeah, I feel like GWS are maybe not favourites right now, but I feel like when the whips get cracking in September,
I like their team.
over the next 3 years, I'd probably go GWS, yeah.
Yeah, I think they've got a real, like, their list is built for finals as well.
Yeah.
Big game players.
Oh, no way.
That is or go Ridley.
Oh, it takes him out of it, though. Ridley goes to Martin,
Go long, top of the square. Why
sends
not?
it deep. Is
Why
it 2
not?
metre, Peter? Oh, there's some
Decam.
bodies flying everywhere here. Darcy Cameron and Frampton had to stop 2 metre Peter there.
Decam is unbelievable at just getting back for, like, creating a contest, intercept marking.
I've never heard him called Decam.
Really?
No.
Maybe that's an AFL fantasy thing. Do you play AFL fantasy, Katos?
No, I'm terrible at fantasy and tipping. But I feel like I
Okay.
know my football. But not at that level.
There's some, yeah, I mean,
I
the
would get
fantasy
rolled
community.
by like my uncles and aunties who were like 50 in our family footy tipping, and that's when I called it.
I wasn't going to do footy tipping this year. And then my lads group chat from back home were like, oh, we're doing footy tipping. And the guy that's on the top of the leaderboard like hasn't watched a game of footy all year. Like, just picks the
That
colours.
always happens.
That's
like,
incredible.
There's some people who do their tipping before the season starts, and you just sort of go off last year's result, and it's not dissimilar to the following year.
Yeah.
And sometimes,
Does that just come out in the wash?
I think Dwayne Russell does it every year, and he always goes quite well in the SEN tipping.
Well, he just does it
Right.
all at the start of the year.
Does it all at the start of the year before he's seen one result, and it ends up being, pretty successful.
Oh, you cannot let Josh Dacos gain 100 metres, bro. Come on.
He's done really well there that hasn't gone out too, because I feel like that would be
Yeah.
failure to
Both
keep it in.
teams, or especially Collingwood, are looking spent here. They're feeling the pressure from the Bombers, and it's opening up for them. 3 points the margin now. Good that this game has come alive, because it was looking like for a moment there it could have been a stinker, but it's all Essendon. Peter Wright makes a contest. De Goey
He's off his tucker. He's off at Drews.
Let's talk about Darcy Tucker.
Let's not, as a North fan. I did a 2016 redraft post on my Instagram,
Yeah.
and people hate it, as they always do with merit, as they always do with redrafts. I just want you guys to have a look at this. So I went
Is it on
original
the
list: Andy
Oh, no.
McGrath, Tim Taranto, Hugh McCluggage, Ben Ainsworth, Will Setterfield, Sam Petrevsky-Seton, Jack Scrimshaw, Griffin Logue, Will Brodie, Jack Bowes was the top 10.
Right.
In the
I
original?
remembered all of them. So
That's good. But you got a rough idea anyway. I went with Tom Stewart. And,
Yeah.
and I know you wouldn't take Tom Stewart, like he was a mature age, playing country footy, all of that kind of
this
stuff
is the
that we know.
reference piece here, Dos made.
But yeah, he's had the best career. I went Hugh McCluggage second, Brisbane Premiership.
I would take Tom Stewart.
You'd have to, wouldn't you, with the career?
Yeah.
Shea Bolton, I went 3. Just because I feel like if he was in a draft, what he can do, he was a premiership player, people forget, at Richmond, and just the X factor player that he is.
Where was he initially taken, Bolton?
Bolton was taken 29.
Yeah, true.
So awesome pick by the Tigers there.
But that's what's so amazing about the draft. It's like you take a pick 29 and that, what did that get turned into? Smiley or is that
What
Hodgman?
you mean, like what the Freo trade ended up being?
Yeah,
Type thing?
so it's like you get one player for pick 29 7
Yeah.
or 8 years ago, and in 7 or 8 years' time, that
Oh,
gets...
I got you.
You've turned that asset into 2 or 3 first rounders or whatever it ended up being.
Yeah. It's crazy the how much value they go up once they hit the competition and
It's like as a
thrive.
club, you can create more assets from converting one pick back in 2016.
I sort of wish, I know AFL fans in general probably don't agree with this. McStay looked hungry for that ball. Teams should be a little bit more ruthless about trading to create that capital, but nobody wants to lose their players.
Yeah.
That seems to be like the absolute fundamental. But if you compare it to other sports, they sort of go after that stuff. You know, they'll trade their best players to be able to get their hands on draft capital. I just wish it was a bit more risky.
What? So like you pick up was that
Great goal.
Maynard?
Yeah.
Your man.
He kicked snags this year. He's been getting on the scoreboard.
I saw a video the other day. They were talking about like the pickups that the Dockers have got. Like Brennan Cox was a late pick. Luke Ryan was a late pick. Tracy was in the rookie draft. God, like Switter wouldn't have been a higher pick. So you think like turn those guys, like get value in them and then be like, all right,
well,
we'll
I'm
trade
talking
this for
even
a
like, I don't know,
high-end
like if
pick.
you're the Western Bulldogs, who I feel are sort of rebuilding on the run, you don't want to cut too deep, but like, could you say throw an Adam Treloar out into the market and say, we don't really need him right now?
It's the most dispensable man in football, Adam Treloar.
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, Collingwood just got rid of him.
The Pies literally did that.
Yeah. They only did it because of a salary cap issue though, right? They wouldn't have done that ordinarily. But like, why not just actually get aggressive and say, we'll move this guy on? Clubs seem to be terrified that what that does to their culture as far as attracting players. We don't want to be seen as the club that does that and the domino effect it can have. But, you know, somebody could overpay for a Treloar who's trying to win a premiership and needs a midfielder. Someone like a St Kilda might go after him that wants to improve their mid stocks, and you'll get a better capital than you would sort of otherwise. I don't know. I just think it'd be more interesting.
Gresham, big 4 minutes here for Essendon just to maybe stick one back or just stay in the game.
Yep.
Durham's
done well again.
He shrugs off Pendles. Kako on Anzac Day. Oh. Is that
for Hampton?
Nah, no prior.
But did he dispose of the ball correctly?
They don't care about that anymore.
He didn't have enough.
So incorrect. What was incorrect disposal? Because I feel we've
had that talk on the stream.
I think incorrect disposal is just like if you throw it.
Yep. If you're tackled without enough prior opportunity now and the ball, they call it just spills out.
Right.
It's not an incorrect disposal.
Spillage.
Because isn't the mechanism, if you haven't had the time, like the prior, and you're actually having a crack at it, we want that. Like with no prior, we want you to try and throw it on the boot, even if you don't.
Yes.
But incorrect disposals, like if you just rugby it, it's like, well, that's an incorrect disposal.
Yeah. Or if if you've had prior and the ball, then you get tackled and the ball spills out. I guess it's just holding the ball there.
Yeah, it's just holding the ball.
Yeah.
But I feel like, even, I don't remember which coach said it, but he was saying, like, I don't actually understand what the holding the ball rule is anymore. Because, like, if you allow for, spillage is okay, then if they actually do have prior and then it spills and it's like, well, then they just had it for long enough. I don't know. It's
well, then that should be holding the ball. If you've had it long enough, and then that's,
Yeah, it's one of those rules that seems to come up every few years that people aren't really happy with it. I feel like it's in a reasonable place.
Yeah, I think it's getting. Yeah, I think it's. Sort of 2 years ago, it was a mess. It's like people would do full 360s and then chuck it on the boot or handball it. But now they've really tightened it where if you get like half a 360 and you just hold on to it, they'll call it even if you do handball it just afterwards.
I think the problem is that it is like a very nuanced rule. Just in general.
So much grey area.
Yeah, exactly.
It's what like every new person to the sport like gets confused about the most. It's like, why isn't that holding the ball? And it's like, I can't tell you.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
No prior.
2 minutes 38 to go.
Collingwood just can't move the ball now.
They've been generous with the 15 metres so far this game.
Do you reckon they've done that because of the weather?
Yep.
What, like not called play on as much, so the game like...
Well, it's harder to hit short kicks in this sort of weather, so they've just been a little bit more lenient.
I don't mind it, but be consistent. It's like,
it's fine though
if it's a 14-metre kick today, we'll pay it because it's wet. But if it's
as long as they're
14-metre kick
consistent
tomorrow,
though, like in game, I suppose. So the players, I suppose the players come in and they sort of have an idea. I don't know. I sort of don't mind that rule because I don't like teams that play keepings off. I reckon how Brisbane played a lot of last year with their short chipping, kicking stock sort of was irritating to watch. So I sort of get that they want the game, they want the ball in motion more.
Harry Jones has kicked that on the instep, and it's gone to the opposite pocket.
Essendon could be closer than this.
6 goals 5 to 5 goals 3. Just going to go into control mode now, you feel the Pies. Just see out the quarter professionally. What is the chat saying? Any updates on Jesse moving to the big city? Yes. Stay tuned is all I'll say. What happened to that Wellington Anzac Day game? Was that a thing?
Yeah, St Kilda.
And Sydney?
I reckon Brisbane as well. I reckon there was a couple of iterations, but they used to play an AFL game in New Zealand.
There you go. Before my time.
I think Lee Montagna, they've brought up on Fox Footy a couple of times. He might have won the medal in that game. There was an Anzac Day medal.
It's just such a big ground. I'm pretty sure that ground is like enormous. Like as in like the playing surface.
Well, it's a cricket ground.
I'm not sure it is. I think it's...
Would the Wellington Phoenix play there?
I think they might. I think the
It's
Wellington
a soccer pitch.
Yeah, I think the Wellington Phoenix play on it. I could be wrong. Play on this big oval ground.
A bit of oval soccer.
Durham does.
I just gave it to the most dangerous man in football. That's not a good decision. Pendlebury into the corridor. Isaac Quainer from 55. Selfish.
Gee.
Loves a banana smoothie at Cheeky Monkey, does Isaac Quainer.
What does that mean? I'm too old for that.
He enjoys a banana smoothie at the Cheeky Monkey Cafe.
Okay.
Just inside sources. Anyway, over to you, Dylan.
Interesting. Just on that draft thing, how did you feel about my top 10 there?
I didn't have any real...
I'm just fishing.
Jordan Ridley above Josh Dacos?
I would have Taranto over like the Isaac Cumming crop.
Okay.
Taranto's has had a better career than Battle, Darcy and Cumming, I think.
I think that's fair, as in had a better career. My argument there would be how many, like Jordan Ridley, he's been injured a lot of his career. At his best, though, they're hard to recruit. Like an intercepting defender,
A Ruckman.
can lock down and distribute the ball really well.
Yep.
So that would be sort of a triple threat type defender. They're kind of, And Cumming...
Who missed out on that top 10 that you did?
I'll tell you one that people were most disgusted with, Nick Larkey.
Yeah.
I didn't have Nick Larkey in the top 10.
You're the biggest Nick Larkey hater.
I'd have
ever.
him over like Isaac Cumming. He was in and out of that GWS lineup for a while.
He got injured. I think he held his spot as he was an intercept defender, like a medium type. And then he got injured. He came back and they sort of pushed him onto a wing. They just had a bit of a different balance. But I think he'd get into most AFL teams and be a bit of a weapon.
Halftime in the sports game.
I feel like Taranto, most top line AFL midfields would not be super keen on a Taranto type. Like he's...
What has happened to that man? Because when he was at the Giants, did he win a BNF?
He might have done.
We love a not knowing BNF stat.
I didn't know BNF.
He almost won a BNF, I think.
He had a couple of seasons, Taranto.
He definitely would have been up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Where he's a freak.
He's an accumulator though, isn't he? Like he just...
I don't know what he is.
Yeah, I don't know what he is either. I just know that he gets like 34 every couple of weeks and I go, oh, that's pretty good.
I sort of have no interest in those players that...
You don't know about.
But he's got to be doing something, doesn't he?
Well, he's winning clearances. He's a clearance mid.
Right.
And we've had this conversation, Drews, about Caleb Sarong. Like I think he's a decent player.
Yeah.
And you can have one of those guys in your team that just wins.
He's a 2-time BNF winner.
2-time at the Giants?
No, one at the
Richmond.
Giants, one at the Tigers.
Yeah, okay. What position did they finish when he won one at the Tigers? I'm going to say last.
Probably.
It would have been one of their bad. But it was 2019 at GWS, so that would have been when they made the granny.
We were having this argument off stream the other night, speaking of redrafts. Who would you take, Cam Rayner or Andrew Brayshaw? Pick one.
I'm Rayner.
I'd take Cam Rayner.
Yeah.
What the frick?
I love Cam Rayner.
I
Were they
think
in the same
I
draft?
think it's easy.
Get in the comments.
Were they in the same draft?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were.
They will pick one and two.
Rayner
That's
was one.
amazing. I love Cam Rayner.
I think those types of players, this is just an opinion thing from a talent ID point of view, but I think that type of player that doesn't get as much of the ball.
16 kicks 4 sort of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're just underrated. Like he'll take contested marks inside forward 50. He'll win big contests forward of the ball, where Brayshaw will just... He's a good player. He's an above average player.
Above average.
Yeah.
You won the AFL
I don't think
MVP
he's
at 21.
I think there's guys in the lower
Sarong
systems.
sucks, Brayshaw sucks, and the Dees pounded us, so I'm living in a different reality.
Brayshaw is one of the best players in the comp.
So what does that make Cam Rayner?
He's one of the best players in the comp.
I would say Cam Rayner's one of the... what am I saying? Like scarcity. Like there's not many Cam Rayners.
Unique.
And that's what I'm saying when I say I look at it from that point of view.
Yeah.
There aren't many Cam Rayners kicking around in like the Coates League in under 18
If Cam Rayner
football.
played for Collingwood, we'd talk about him better than DeGoey.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he's that
He's
good.
that type.
He's that good.
So Luke M goes, for me, the tiebreaker will always be if they're a premiership player. Let's keep accolades aside. Because Brayshaw has a
Billy
MVP.
Frampton's a bloody...
Billy Frampton or
That's
Alex
what I mean
Pearce.
with like a Nick Larkey too, because people will come back at me and say like, yeah, he's kicked all these goals, blah, blah, blah. It's like, we've won fucking 15 games in 5
That's
years.
generous.
Like, who gives...
True, but Larkey... Did he win the Coleman? No.
He almost won a BNF.
Yeah, he was all Australian.
All Australian
Yeah.
forward playing for North Melbourne is an outstanding effort.
I think he's had an outstanding career.
Imagine if he played for Geelong.
Yeah, but if you're like picking him, honestly, like be really honest here, and there's like a bunch of like top end forwards in the comp, your Kernows, your Camerons, your Hogans, are you honestly picking Nick Larkey above those guys?
Cameron's getting old.
Would you take Josh Tracy or Nick Larkey?
Tracy.
Same.
Yeah.
I don't
Definitely.
know,
All right,
I'd
but-
be happy with either, to be
So
honest.
the
I'm
Pommy
rolling out Tom Fullerton at the moment.
True, you're a decent.
You were quite happy with his performance last night.
Yeah.
He's all right.
No, he's... he battled.
Don't dox yourself. We were having this discussion last week about who's a better player, and Pommy and Oz has made a formula. And it's if this player was in a struggling team, who would get
I
their
like
team
this.
out of the mud? If you were... Who's a struggling team? North Melbourne, let's say, pre all these guns, and you had Cam Rayner versus Andrew Brayshaw, who brings them out of the mud?
Okay, so
Andrew Brayshaw is the clear answer.
Yeah. Andrew
I love
Brayshaw is the clear answer.
He,
With that.
Druzy always
that-
does this. So
with that
he sets
rubric.
you up. He sets you up with questions.
Yeah. So I've got this weird formula, and it's my guy.
Who covers the most ground in a game out of Cam Rayner and Andrew Brayshaw?
Who
With
leads
that
the team?
rubric, yeah, I would prefer Andrew Brayshaw because Cam Rayner will just be sitting forward, and you're
Yeah.
only kicking 40 points a game.
So what you guys are saying is Cam Rayner has more talent.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
I don't know what
Definitely.
I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, Andrew Brayshaw, I don't know soccer, so I'm going to have a crack here. And Druzy knows that I don't know positions.
I like this. I
given
like
my
this.
FIFA setups. But I would say Andrew Brayshaw is
A box-to-box midfielder.
Yeah, like a nice Cam. And I would say
He's more of a centre mid, I reckon.
Cam Rayner
Oh,
is...
you're saying Brayshaw's a CAM?
Oh, I don't know positions. But box-to-box midfielder, and I would say Cam Rayner is your premium striker
Yes.
that gets paid more.
Yes. I could maybe do a slight rebuttal on
Yes.
that Rain is like an attacking mid. He's your 10 to do the numbers thing for soccer. And Brayshaw's like a bit further
8.
back.
He's an 8.
He's an 8.
He's an 8.
Yeah.
And 10's higher than 8.
Oh, you
No,
got that.
tens are more.
In that rubric.
Yeah.
Geez, what a draft.
Yeah.
Let's go to that draft.
Yeah. Are you going to redraft that draft next?
All right. I can bring that draft up. What are we talking there? 20...
What about the year before?
20. It was the end of 2017.
Oh, a year
Oh,
after.
2017.
I reckon.
True. Yeah, you're right.
Right.
Maybe 2018.
No, you're right. Because McGluggage and Berry are older than Cam.
And that was the Chera.
Oh, bloody Chera. Speaking of guys that
Oh.
are easy to find, they're everywhere. Adam Chera.
Mate.
I'm sorry.
He has been the biggest whipping boy on this stream.
Don't let this guy redraft after the 2016 one.
That's his name as well. I just read his name out.
That's funny.
Have you got it, Dill?
Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Wait. Let's do a. I can't remember the draft, but let's blind rank the top 10. So give us the top 10, and we're gonna blind
this
rank.
is great. Yeah,
Great content. Clip this up, Jesse.
Yep.
Clip it up.
This is incredible. Okay.
Blind rank 2017 draft.
Do you want me to just do it in random order too?
Yeah.
Yep.
I wanna get
Random
notes on.
order, and we're going to blind rank.
Do you want all players in the draft or just the top 10?
No, top 10.
Just the top 10. Okay. Just double checking. Okay. Hunter Clark.
10.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go 10.
Hunter Clark. C grade football?
Jaden Stevens.
Wait, hang on. Before we move on. Whoa. That's a cliffhanger.
Damn it.
Hunter Clark had all the tools to be a good player at St Kilda, I thought. Where is he still at the Saints?
Yeah.
Is he still on the list?
Yeah.
Do you know in the 2024 draft, a lot of Saints fans, at times I had like mock drafts and I mocked Murphy Reid to St Kilda and they're like, no, he's another Hunter Clark. He's Hunter Clark 2.0.
Why? He's got a headband.
Yes. And he
From
had that sort of
Sandringham.
long hair that's...
Yeah.
People get confused with stuff like that.
Hunter
Aesthetic.
Clark was Jack Sinclair before Jack Sinclair was Jack Sinclair, I thought. Just like little halfback.
Yeah, Jack
Bit
Sinclair's
silky.
so much better though, isn't he?
Yeah, well, he's become better. But I don't think Hunter Clark's a bad player, but I'd still put him 10 because Caden said, and I couldn't think.
All right, so he's 10. You're writing this down.
I just thought, yeah, if there's names coming and Hunter Clark's, yeah, anyway.
You're not going to put him at 4, are you?
Jaden Stevenson.
9.
Well, he's out of the AFL, so...
I still reckon Jaden Stevenson
On
probably had a
talent.
better career than Hunter Clark. Is that a crazy thing to say?
He definitely had a better start. Did he have a better career? Those things are hard to quantify.
That
I
is
think,
yeah.
I think they're both misses ultimately. Jaden Stevenson, the way that he started his career, you would have said he was the best player in this draft.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was incredible.
Well, he won the Rising Star that year.
Yeah, and he
He
had a
kicked
couple.
4 on the grand final or something. 2 or 3, maybe.
I was living overseas at that time.
Let me answer first, otherwise I'm going to keep copying you. Next one.
Would you go for Jaden?
They want to do it together.
Oh, what? Same team?
Yeah,
All right,
yeah. We come to it.
That's
I know,
better.
I know I've jumped in early, but
Nah,
for
go
a
on.
couple. But
You're right.
they just incited this
I concur.
emotion out of me.
Next one, Luke Davies-Uniacke.
I would say like a 4 or 5.
Oh.
I don't know. I actually don't know who's coming.
Well, Rayner and Brayshaw are coming. So
And he's better
I
than
love
both of them.
LDU. I love LDU. You want to go 4? Little safe 4 spot.
You want to go 3. Do you feel
I
like
love the jeopardy here.
Is there going to be one that pops up and
yeah,
is
do you
better?
reckon like a GWS or a Gold Coast started to get busy?
No, I reckon we lock in LDU at 3.
Yep, nice.
Who's next? Dylan?
Adam Chera.
Oh, can we redo our 10th? Or?
He can't be that bad.
5?
No, Adam Chair is not that good, man.
If Hunter Clark and Jaden Stevenson are in here, I feel like a couple more will be. So I'd say 5 or 6.
I'll go 6. I'll settle for 6.
He's a good footballer.
He's a nice footballer. We've had this conversation so many
He's
times.
not
on this
Andy
stream.
Brayshaw, who is coming, but he's not Jaden Stevenson.
You know the problem with a player like Adam Chera in the modern game?
Yes.
He's not offensive enough, and he's got no defensive part to his game either. So he's just he may as well be playing VFL.
He can come off half back. He can play half back, but not as a defensive half back. He's just
No.
just sort of there and can when he uses the ball by foot well, he's all right.
I'd love a bit more speed on a player like Adam Chera.
Yeah, and Carlton fans probably would too, and a bit of toughness and passion. But
So we'll knock off these top 2 because you kind of know they're coming. So Cam Rayner, Andy Brayshaw.
well, I want Rayner at 2.
Oh yeah, I'm content with that.
Yes.
It was 50-50. I could come in as like the middle ground.
Nah, we'll leave number 1 for Brayshaw. Well, should we just go Brayshaw because we're going to knock him out? Yeah.
Next
Brayshaw.
one is Paddy Dow.
Oh,
8.
yeah. Well, would you prefer Paddy Dow or Jaden Stevenson?
We can't change it anyway.
We
but,
can't. But who
no,
would
you prefer Paddy Dow than Jaden Stevenson, I reckon.
what has Dow
I don't know
done?
if you would though. Would you just take that would you take the short years of Jaden Stevenson at the level that he was playing?
Yeah.
You probably would.
You probably would, actually.
Versus like bottom 4 consistent in
Like
your best 22.
never got going.
Yeah. Paddy Dow's a classic example too of a bottom feeder club like the Saints. Like I get this with North Melbourne all the time. We take those liabilities off other teams when they draft a shocking player.
You think you can change them?
We think we can change them. We absolutely can't. And nor can St Kilda. The next one is Aaron Norton.
4, yeah.
Great list, by the way. I'm pretty happy with this.
Yeah, I think. So for those at home,
You're not going to be when you hear the next player.
Oh no. Just on Norton, bit of a frustrating player because he sort of burst onto the scene. He probably had his best years in the AFL in his first sort of 3 years, I feel like, when he started just like crashing packs, coming across, taking great marks. Sam Darcy stepped up this year particularly, really been that dominant force forward for them. But when he went off against the Saints, I thought Norton looked so much better. I don't know if it was just because the Saints were off, but he just had more freedom in that forward line. And when you're not looking for the best player in the comp in Sam Darcy in that forward line and people start looking for Norton, I just feel like...
Does that mean that...
Brought him into the game a bit.
What would you put that down to? Would you put that down to like a fundamental flaw of Aaron Norton as not being able to operate in a, I don't know, like maybe a more condensed forward line where Darcy's the main target? Or would you put it down to a mental thing where he actually just doesn't play as well? Because I feel like there's certain things that, like when Darcy's in the team, again, that game against Freo was a classic example. Like he almost looked like he couldn't play football at times. Like he was dropping really simple marks, making errors.
He is one of those players, just a frustrating type. But I feel like the Dogs maybe could be a bit too Darcy-centric at times. And when they had no option but to go to Norton... He looked back to his best, the Rockingham boy. So.
Yeah. Well, you definitely saw the predictability, like it changed, didn't it, when he went off the ground the other night? But you'd still, like, of course, a Sam Darcy, you still wouldn't want him in the team.
Is a Jordan Dawson coming?
He might be in the draft. He's not in the top 10 though.
True.
Yeah. The next one I'm going to go with here is Nick Caulfield.
Who the fuck is that guy?
7. He's a Bulldog superstar.
Yeah.
Right. Hunter Clark is a bit stiff to be this low down now.
Caulfield was drafted by St Kilda.
Was he?
Yeah, then traded to the Dogs. Again, another low team.
I would swap Hunter Clark to 7 at the moment.
We'll read out the full list.
There's
5 remains.
5?
5 is our
Yeah, this is
final.
the last one.
Sorry. So the Lockie O'Brien.
Wow. The Blues have wasted a whole generation.
I didn't even know who Lockie O'Brien was.
They drafted Dow and Lockie O'Brien in that one.
Oh my God.
In the top 10.
Oh my God.
And they've got Adam Shearer. It's actually hilarious.
Jared, well, yeah. Well, I can hate
So we had Brayshaw, Rayner, LDU, Norton, O'Brien.
I'll read it out to you how it actually got drafted. So
Chera.
pick 1 was Rayner.
Yeah.
Pick 2 was Andy Brayshaw. Pick 3 was Paddy Dow. Pick 4 was LDU. Pick 5 was Adam Chera. Pick 6, Jaden Stevenson. Pick 7, Hunter Clark. 8, Caulfield. 9, Norton. 10, O'Brien.
Any bargains in this draft in hindsight?
Darcy Fogarty at 12.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty solid pick. Ed Richards at 16.
Yep.
Zach Bailey at 15.
I love Zach Bailey.
Yeah. Brisbane, Rayner and Bailey.
Yeah.
2 absolute gems.
Compared to Dow and O'Brien.
Yep. I'd say Jack Higgins at pick 17 is not a bad little pick.
Yep.
Small forward.
That's exactly where you'd love to take a Jack Higgins in the draft. Just like sort of back end of the first round. Good pick.
Yep. The Lions also got Starcevic at pick 18. A little high for his quality, but
I didn't realise he was that young. I feel like Starcevic just has that older aura.
Because he's bald.
Yeah,
true.
Little Shannon Hearn type operator.
Will Powell by the Gold Coast at 19 is a pretty good pick.
He's such a jet. He didn't play too well against Richmond the other day, but times this year I've been watching him. I think it was against the Dees. He had a bit of a day out.
This draft is actually really good as you get into the later picks here. So Oscar Allen at 21.
Nice.
Frustrating one.
Tim Kelly to Geelong at 24. Noah Bolter to Richmond at 25. Great pick. Liam Ryan to West Coast at 26. Brent Daniels to GWS at 27. This is almost like a super draft post pick 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Brent Daniels.
Sam Taylor.
Oh.
20, so the Giants went
Giants.
Daniels into Taylor, 27-28.
That is incredible. But before we move on, I think Brent Daniels could be one of my favourite players in the league to watch.
Oh, he's brilliant. He's right up. We don't do as many Giants games, but he's right in that mould of like a Dylan Moore for me.
Yeah. And we know how much you love
Yeah.
Dylan Moore.
100%.
You couldn't love him any more if you tried.
Brian Myers at 57.
Do you want
Dylan
me
Moore.
to keep going?
Dylan Moore at 67. Gritio, the boys are chiming in the chat.
Was Dylan Moore in that draft? I didn't actually know
At
that.
67.
Bailey Fritsch was at 31. That's a great pickup. Hybrid forward.
Is that why he wears the 31? Must be.
Probably.
Unless he was
be.
a big Aaron Sandilands fan growing up.
Tom McCartan, 33. Another good pick. Petty, 37. Nathan Murphy, 39. Retired now, but a great player.
That's sad.
Charlie Ballard, 42.
Gone.
He's gone.
He's a gun.
What a draft.
Yeah, it's massive. Like Warple's in there, like not a superstar. Kane Farrell, 51.
I didn't know he was that old.
Farrell.
I didn't know Kane Farrell was like 7 or 8 years into his career.
What, you thought he was a young?
I feel like Kane Farrell's just popped off in the last 18 months.
Yeah.
Dylan Moore.
Where the hell's he been for the first 5 years?
He
Pick
probably.
67.
Yeah.
This is incredible. And Lloyd Meeks in there as well, the Tristan Sherry
Wow.
at pick 72.
Well, Lloyd Meek was always our like third option.
Yeah, you just had a lot of options.
Yeah.
That's
Apparently-
pretty much what you should do with Rucks, right? Just recruit the one that
CJ and Liam Baker in the rookie draft
CJ.
from the Hawks.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay. Yeah,
2018 draft. What a time to be alive.
2017.
2017. First year they played
Yeah,
was
that's
2018. is what I
absolutely
meant.
awesome stuff. Guys, I want to do this segment. I don't know how it's going to go here. I saw it in the F1
Go on.
and I think it's super cool. But we do AFL players and you put them in the Harry Potter. I'm not a Harry Potter fan.
Neither am I.
But you put them in the Harry Potter houses. So, essentially, I'll read out the houses. The game's about to start again here, so I don't want to go too long here. But, okay, you got Gryffindor.
Right.
We kind of know what it's bravery, chivalry, and a strong sense of justice. Hufflepuff, it's hard work, loyalty, fairness. Ravenclaw is intelligence, wisdom, and creativity. Slytherin, ambition, cunning. We all know it's Slytherin. It's sort of the
A bunch of dogs.
dogs. Yeah, exactly. All right. So players. First one, Nick Dacos.
Gryffindor.
Yeah, that's what I thought at first too.
He's
But
just
then
a beautiful man.
he's too big to be Ravenclaw, isn't he? You can't say.
Well, bravery, chivalry, a strong sense of justice.
What about Hufflepuff?
Who's like a fair? Oh wait, no, we're doing Dacos. Hard work, loyalty, and fairness. Maybe Hufflepuff. Maybe Hufflepuff.
For Dacos.
Or Gryffindor.
Dacos, he can't be. He can't be Hufflepuff.
Why can't Nick Dacos be Hufflepuff?
Because he's the main
bro?
character.
He's two main character
Yeah.
energy. He's got to be Slytherin or Gryffindor for me.
No,
Well,
not
he's not
Slytherin.
Slytherin, so he's
Well, he does
Gryffindor.
play for Collingwood, and they're a bit of a Slytherin side, don't you
He's
feel?
just pulled a clearance here. We're back live in the third quarter.
Collingwood are Slytherin.
They're a Slytherin team.
So maybe he is like but he's not a Malfoy. Malfoy's a little bastard.
Okay, I'll throw another one at you here. Jack Viney.
Talk about bravery.
It's massive Hufflepuff energy for me. He's not a main
Hard
character.
work, loyalty, and fairness. But Gryffindor with that bravery piece.
You just want him to be main, don't you?
Yeah.
He feels like that to you.
Even
Well,
that-
bravery is the first word that comes to my mind when I think of hard work and loyalty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think Jack
definitely
Viney's Hufflepuff. What about Bailey Smith?
Slytherin.
Slytherin.
Yeah, 100%.
yeah, Slytherin.
Is it the
Especially-
blonde
Well,
hair
he's got
too?
yeah.
He just looks like with a robe.
Yeah.
After the last couple of weeks, he's definitely a Slytherin. Can't even say it.
Darcy Moore.
Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw.
Intelligence, wisdom.
Oh, that's a good one, actually.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thought
He
about
actually
myself.
is.
I don't even know what any of this means, but I feel like Darcy Moore's just like characters, like I don't know, like Ravenclaw. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a bit like
I thought maybe people would naturally go Gryffindor there because he's sort of that.
He's got the blonde hair. He's giving me Slytherin as well.
Yeah, true, with the blonde hair. But yeah, I think character is more Ravenclaw vibes.
what is a football stream Ravenclaw vibe that's coming out? God. Anyway,
Ginnivan.
Slytherin,
Ginnivan.
surely.
All Hawthorn players just going to be Slytherin.
No, I just think he's a little pest.
Yeah,
Is that what Slytherin is?
Cunning.
Cunning.
Yeah.
Resourceful, loves a free kick. 4.
Does love a free kick, loves a goal.
Yep.
Andrew Brayshaw.
Gryffindor. Massive Gryffindor.
Yep.
You wanted that, didn't you? What do you reckon Luke Ryan would be, Druzy?
He's Slytherin.
Yeah, Slytherin. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
He's cunning, isn't he?
Yeah, he's cunning.
He just loves the argy-bargy.
I'll go one more.
Go on.
Go 10 more.
You enjoying it?
This is fun. I want to do other shows.
Sam Taylor.
Oh.
Sam
I
Taylor.
reckon he's obvious.
Hufflepuff?
No, he's Slytherin. He's Slytherin. He's dark arts.
I'd say like hard work, fairness. Sam Taylor goes about his business.
Ambitious, cunning, and resourceful.
No,
surely.
Sam Taylor's not ambitious.
But he's like a fair man, Sam Taylor, I reckon.
Do you?
Yeah. I don't see him as like a Bailey Smith, Jack Ginnivan area.
A pesty
Yeah, no. I reckon
weasel.
I feel like you need to be a little bit naughty to be in Slytherin.
I thought he was a bit naughty.
Sam
we
Taylor?
give me some feedback in the comments on that one. I wouldn't mind just seeing what other people think about Sam Taylor.
Taylor Ravenclaw says Sage Sauce.
Intelligent, wisdom, which is kind of intelligence, isn't it? And creativity. Okay.
Great idea from you. Great segment. I'm sure Jesse can recite every word of every...
Jesse would love this.
He
wouldn't
would literally be like creaming his pants right now if he was watching this, to be honest. Like, caddy. Oh, what a grab. It was just like a good one-on-one win there, but in the wet, you like to see it.
I love that when a player either picks up the ball or marks the ball with that real, I don't know what you call it, but like a real fast action when they pull it down. Like, watch his arms take this.
My
Pulls it
footy.
down. Yeah, my footy.
Ollie
Kick it.
Go.
Ollie Wiltshire will debut for the Cats on Sunday. He was playing in the Ballerine Football League a couple of seasons ago, which isn't the best Geelong Football League. It's like the second tier of Geelong local football. And he's just playing senior footy, and they drafted him out of that, and now he's debuting like 2 years later.
That's incredible.
So what you're telling me is going to be great.
He's going, and I think he's got like blonde hair and a headband. I'm not even kidding.
God.
So what you're telling me is if I get 20 touches again tomorrow, Geelong will pick me up next year.
22-year-old forward was plucked from local footy at Barwon Heads at the end of 2023.
Incredible.
What the hell, man?
Do you know what's crazy about this?
How do you identify that?
AFL
Could he not just be a spud?
No.
Could he not just be a
He'll play
spud?
150
Do you know what's
games.
funny? The worst player that Geelong have debuted in the last few years from the draft was their highest draft pick,
Who, Jai Clark?
Jai Clark. I reckon he's the worst player they've put in the league. When they get these guys from out there, it seems to work better. They're more suited to AFL footy.
I don't
Yeah.
understand as a recruiter how you can watch a level 4 tiers down and identify traits
Dersma.
that'll stand up.
Kako! This for Essendon to hit the front for the first time of the day. Yeah, Jai Clark, he sort of came in as that, like, not Selwood replacement, because no one was ever going to replace Joel Selwood, but just that hard-nosed mid.
He's that type. He's poor on the ball, though.
Yeah, he just hasn't got to the levels that Geelong would have hoped for, and that's why they don't go to the draft. They say, we don't need the draft. We'll
Still
take
early
it.
days, though. I think.
Yeah, no, we'll back him in. But it's like,
I think in fairness, like, he was from Geelong, and I don't think they would have taken him. I don't think another club would have taken him with that higher pick.
Kako, come on!
They're
We
in
got
front.
a game on our
They
hands.
are in front, the Bombers. This is incredible. The tip is on. You can't see them. You can't see them like chipping away at Collingwood.
No, they've been cracking in all day, I reckon. I reckon they'll be there for the distance here, the Dons. You tipped them, so you should be riding them home.
The cunning of Collingwood is real, though. The Slytherin, the Slytherin vibes. Paddy again there made a
I was going
contest.
to say.
Did that just bounce off his head?
Might have been
Bounce
a
off his
Falcon in
big
there.
chest.
What do you guys think of Jones? Oh, no, that was Dersma, sorry, that kicked that ball. But what do you think of Jones?
Handy?
Yeah.
Unassuming?
He's just like 75th percentile type areas, you know what I mean? He's just like...
Looks like a real athlete.
Yeah,
But probably doesn't have the...
he has moments and you're like, God, he's a handy player. And then there's weeks where he just, I don't know.
I expect very little from Harrison Jones, and I think he overexceeds
Darn
my
again.
expectations.
Merit with the Big kick inside 50. Get under that one. Frampton takes out Howe. It's going to work out for him. Josh Dacos playing halfback.
Essendon are up and about here.
Dacos takes an uncontested mark and the comment. Well, now I'm saying they're glazing too much, and I was sort of batting for him the other day, so I probably shouldn't make that point. We're having this conversation. Do you think Dacos gets talked about too much, Dos?
It's funny. My partner goes for Geelong, goes for the Pies, and I was trying to tell her how like Dacos is a freak and I love him, but he gets mentioned in every sentence, and it probably is a little bit overkill.
Yeah.
And we were watching the telecast one night, and it was something. It was just so rogue. It was like, oh, Essendon are debuting this young small forward, and Nick Dacos is, and it literally was so randomly crowbarred in. And I just looked at my partner, and I was like, see, it's stuff like that. He gets crowbarred into everything, whether it's like, yeah, this young small forward is pacey, not Nick Dacos, but he's just everywhere.
You see it particularly with the draft stuff as well, because there's a kid that sort of like has a little bit of pace. He's like a smaller bodied guy.
Yeah.
He's got a bit of Nick Dacos about him.
Yeah.
Like it just comes into...
Or someone will be one pace and inside mid, and they'll say, so he doesn't play like Nick Dacos. So he just gets spoken about all the time, but I don't mind it. Like it doesn't trigger me as much as it triggers other fans. I think he's one of the best players I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And the things that he does... like from a line breaking and skill and IQ, and like he's a slight frame, but he cracks in. I'm happy to talk about Dacos as much. Like I love him. Like I reckon he's a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's...
Because sometimes we can tall poppy syndrome some of these blokes. Like
for sure.
And if Nick Dacos was playing a world game, he would be...
He's a genuine revelation.
He'd be Virat Kohli.
My only criticism probably in that area comes with like the Brownlow. And I have a lot of bones to pick with the Brownlow, but like obviously like the amount of votes that say like he and Cripps got in the last one, I feel like there is a bit of a malaise with the umpires. Like they come off the field and they're just like, it was good.
People used to win it with 20 votes like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And now they have 20 votes by round 10.
We were talking about before how we're going to put...
No way. There's
Bobby
not
Hill.
A chance. Bobby Hill kicks that.
Oh, no way.
And he's done a bow.
That was even good for him. Someone with a Tassie jersey in the crowd, Drizzy, you don't like that?
I don't mind Tassie because they're not a real team yet, but what have I just witnessed? That was Cater McDonald goal kicking challenge-esque.
There was a 0% chance.
Incredible.
What's the X?
I was going to say, what's the expected goals on that?
What's the X?
0.1.
Probably minus.
Yeah. Let's have a look at this again. Bombed inside 50.
Merritt, ball watching.
Oh, he is too.
And that is a drop punt. That is ridiculous.
And he kicks it across his body as well.
Oh, the bear. I love that.
Oh, what a showman.
That's
Incredible.
So Bobby Hill came to the Pies 2 or 3 years ago, and wasn't he? He was almost meant to go to Essendon, I reckon.
Was he?
I reckon the year before he went to Collingwood, he tried to get to Essendon, and it got blocked by GWS.
He had a couple of bouts of testicular cancer.
I don't know about a couple.
Maybe
a couple, but yeah, he definitely had
some time out of the game and stuff.
Yeah. But I have this argument where Bobby Hill moved to Collingwood. He's on every Friday night game. He's kicking goals from ridiculous angles. And the footy world get to finally appreciate him. And I was saying that, like, having 18 teams is great, more footy, more games, but it means top-end talent like a Toby Green, we haven't got to watch on a Friday night football extravaganza where he's slotting goals like that in front of 90,000. So when we finally got to see Bobby Hill for a big Victorian side, I was like, it's almost a shame all the players that we don't get to see across their career on a stage like that.
Yeah, I say that about Bailey Banfield.
Nobody needs to
like
see
a Toby
Bailey
Green. If Toby Green played 5 or 6 years at the Pies to finish off his career, you would see things that that you miss at the 120 Saturday games up at
100%.
Giant Stadium.
He should be playing for Slytherin.
Yeah.
For Collingwood, right? Like that's But he's I think people take Toby Green for granted.
Yeah.
Just in general, just how good a player he is. Like he's almost got this reputation now. He's seen as like a bit of a bad guy. But he's such a quality footballer.
That was a high tackle on Dacos.
Yeah, that
It
was
was.
Slytherin. That was sneaky. Deliberate.
Setterfield.
I'd pay that.
Deliberatore.
Just pay it.
What was that? Deliberatore.
Yep.
Deliberatore.
Tom Deliberatore.
I reckon the umpire went, who kicked that? And they're like, Setterfield. No, he didn't mean to do that.
Josh Dacos leading disposals.
I'll
Interesting.
have a look at the stats, actually.
We were too busy talking about Hufflepuff. settle down.
We were huffle and puffling.
Zach Merritt's got the highest AFL fantasy score. No surprises there.
They don't count stats for ball watching though, do they?
That's what I mean with a player like Zach Merritt. I think he's phenomenal, don't get me wrong. But can you be considered one of the best players in the game when you play for a team like an Essendon or a...
Well, Gary Ablett Jr. was when he was at Gold Coast.
But he'd won premierships.
Yeah. Go Caddy.
He won a Brownlow before.
In the back, he didn't have
Yeah.
the ball.
I agree with you then. Like when
Free
Drizzy
kick.
says he won a Brownlow, I'm usually like, no, it doesn't count. And then I'm like,
But he was well accomplished before he
he
got
was
to
well
the Suns.
accomplished, yeah.
But I reckon he went to another level. And maybe this was just my hating of the Geelong Footy Club. Oh, he's in the half back line now. But I'd watch Gary Ablett Jr. and I'd go, Gary Ablett Jr. is only good because he's got Jimmy Bartel and Joel Sarwood and I don't know who else
Paul
was running.
Chapman.
Steve Johnson, Paul Chapman helping him. Gary Ablett Jr. is only good because he plays with good players. And then he went to Gold Coast and was surrounded by 18-year-olds.
And he was even better.
And he went to another level. And I went, oh my God, this is one of the greatest players I've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting that part of his career, isn't it? Because I made the mention, like the Zach Merritt thing. But yeah, when you look at a player like Ablett...
It's actually, once again, a shame that we haven't got to appreciate Bobby Hill till now or Toby Green at all across his career because he hasn't played on the biggest stage. It actually is a bit of a shame that Gary Ablett for 10 years played for an expansion side. Like, that is a bit of a pity.
Yeah, he was definitely hiding up there, wasn't he, to a point?
Who do you think is like the most underappreciated player? Maybe not player, but like era of a player that played for a smaller club. I think.
Oh, okay. Like play, yeah.
Someone that's been completely off Broadway, achieved things that, like, if it was a Collingwood, a Hawthorn, a Richmond, they'd be considered like...
It's easy to think of them from a Freo
Jeez.
perspective. Like Luke McFarlane was just like the best fullback. Like,
Yeah, okay.
So
Yeah, he was
solid
a
for
gun.
so long.
Yeah.
And it was only like he had one bad year in his last year and then retired. But other than that, it was like every time
Incredible.
Luke McFarlane played, it was like a 10 out of 10.
Yep.
Who's another off Broadway?
I'm trying to think. Like,
Hold on,
for
keep
some
that in.
reason, my brain went to like those St Kilda teams, but
Yeah.
they were actually quite good.
Woody said Robert Harvey. Eli said Warren Treadray. Daniel Talia.
Treadray was a premiership player, though, wasn't he? 2004.
Yeah, it must have been.
None are really leaping out.
See, people will say this and
I'll
we'll
give
be
you one.
like,
I'll
oh,
give you
no.
one when he was at his prime, one of the better players in the comp. Travis Boak.
Travis Boak's not a bad call.
Has he not got his flowers though?
Yeah, longevity-wise, it's...
Maybe in the end he has.
Yeah.
Hayden Ballantyne was on a podcast. I was on Jam on Dylan, actually, friends of the channel. And Ballantyne was saying like Mundy's his most underrated player of all time.
Yeah.
I still love him. I feel a bit like he's similar to Boak, I suppose.
I
When
think
he
he
was
only got his flowers in his last year.
Yeah, in his last year.
really
Because his last year of footy, he back to the Brownlow, he polled his highest votes ever in his final season of footy.
And
just
everyone
thought-
kept joking that he was the rising star.
Well, he was like, right, oh no,
Oh, that's a goal. That
he
is a
hasn't
goal.
actually kicked that. He's
just-
like put his foot
He's
on it.
pushed it through with his foot.
Yeah.
So bring it back.
Where was I? David Mundy.
If you put the footy between your legs and you hopped it over, would that be a goal? Like you don't kick it, you just hop it over between your legs.
Let's try it for Wattle Park tomorrow.
No,
It would be.
it would be a goal.
It would be considered a goal. I remember once there was like one of those, this is way back, it was Sydney versus St Kilda, when the game that Nick Riewoldt took that incredible mark, where he came, Riewoldt at the SCG comes flying back with the flight. Do you guys remember that?
What, when he like knocked himself out?
I don't think he knocked himself out, but he just came fly. Like
Yeah.
it was just an
Yeah,
incredibly
yeah.
courageous mark.
And he takes out Stephen Milne.
Yeah, that nothing to do with that mark, but it was in the same game. And I remember Michael O'Loughlin, he got like pinned on the goal line, and his legs were back over the goal line, but the ball was still in play, and he essentially like held the ball in play up until his teammate was running in from further back, and then he came and socketed it off the ground. And I remember that time the commentators were like, could that be considered holding the ball? Because he was being tackled on the other end,
yeah.
Just
had his
holding
hand
it.
on the ball, just holding it there, and he held it there for probably 5 seconds. And then,
Hobbs! What a moment for the boy! Straight
game
answer
is
back.
doing things. 9 minutes to go in the third quarter.
We'd love to see Hobbsy just go to that next level, wouldn't we? It's what Essendon need.
He's getting there.
He's had a good year, hasn't he?
I felt like he was everywhere against the Dees a couple of weeks ago. Like, I think he only ended up with 20 touches, but I remember him buzzing about every contest.
That's okay, though. I feel like if he can just be that high half forward, 20 touches, 8 tackles.
He's almost surprised here. Watch this.
He's such a
he
big-
picks it up, he spins out of it. He's like, oh, I haven't been tackled.
Yeah.
Bang.
You know, he's another one.
He's such a big body.
He just needs more speed to play that role for me.
The need for speed.
Yeah. Like good hands, like stuff like that, he's brilliant. Pulling the ball out of the rough.
Can you just get quicker?
Yeah, you can improve your
I reckon
speed.
you can.
You can improve your
Improve
speed.
your power.
Yeah.
Like just get quicker feet for those first
Yep.
5 or 6 steps. You're probably not improving your 100-meter time trial.
100-meter time trial.
But it is
Not
difficult.
Goughton.
It would be like if you were looking at it from a recruiting point of view, like they would usually see those things as like relatively fixed.
Speed.
Yeah. Something that you can
will
improve.
Murphy Reid be a fast player eventually?
He's already a little bit like whippy. Like
He's
like
agile.
He just moves
Yeah.
really well, yeah. He doesn't have straight line speed.
There was a couple more of those underrated players. Darren Holm. Don't even know who that is.
I have no idea who that is. What era was that?
No idea. Dos?
Throw some.
No, I've actually got no idea.
Throw some more.
I was thinking like David Swallow. Like if David Swallow played for Hawthorn.
Was he not just shit though?
No, I think he was good for a couple of years.
Really? Don't know. He's a bit of a butcher by foot type operator.
Butcher
I
by
can't really
trade.
remember. I just remember he was
Yeah.
up there with Gaz trying to
Adam
win better.
Goods.
No, he's
Oh,
just
he's
a
a star.
certified.
He got his flowers, didn't he? Jonathan Patton, early GWS days, but yeah, he didn't. Yeah. But see, the thing with these players, everyone's saying these players, and we're like, oh, yeah, they were all right. And that's the whole point of the argument.
Toby Green, probably. Like Toby Green. Like
I think Toby Green's a good example.
why have we not seen him Friday night footy, 60,000 MCG? It's because he plays for a small side. But
Do you think? Sorry, I just was thinking about the Adam Goods one there. Do you think there is a bit of that though, like in his maybe like the majority of his career? I think like with the stuff that happened to him at the end of his career, we see him as this high profile player. But actually, as a player, did he maybe get a little bit neglected in sort of the middle of his career?
Nah, I don't think so. He won 2 Brownlows. I reckon he was like
Yeah, true.
The Brown becomes like
Yes.
Brownlows again.
It always does. Daniel Kerr from Woody.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's not a bad shout.
Adam Uze.
Great call.
I loved him.
Great call.
He was one of my favourites. Had a
Yeah.
real like the way that he played, like with the ball and stuff.
He was
like a soccer-
mercurial.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
a soccer element to it.
Yeah.
Cameron Ling. I think
He
got
was just
enough.
shit, wasn't he?
He got his flowers. Come on
Yeah.
now.
Oh, Pendles.
Pendlebury plays the game at his own speed.
Deliberate.
Nick Del Santo, another one.
Nick Del Santo. Yeah, I think Daniel Kerr and Del Santo are probably that more examples of they weren't the best midfielder in their team.
Well, who was in that St Kilda midfield?
Lenny Hayes,
Oh, yeah.
Lee Montagna,
Goddard.
Goddard. Yeah,
Was
I
he
think.
in mid?
Yeah, he played
think
mid.
so.
He played everywhere. Utility.
Luke Power.
Yeah.
Crows Tom Lynch.
Crows Tom Lynch.
Starting to get triggered by these names now. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, who are they?
Daniel Jan Zaracuza.
He's a good player, actually. Creative little forward.
They reckon he'll be the next coach.
Yeah, he's at Essendon,
Yeah.
I want to say.
Kill. Nice. There was a comment before that I didn't read out. It was about Geelong. They picked up Cooper Stevens with the first round pick. And he's now at Box Hill.
Yeah.
What is he on Hawthorn's list?
I think they let him go.
I think they did. Yeah. I don't think he's available because he would have come up in the discussions like with their midfield injuries, I reckon.
Yeah. They've got...
And then they had Charlie Constable.
Oh,
Another one they drafted that was
Yeah.
meant to be.
Yeah, they hate first rounders.
Yeah, no, only played for... Oh, there you go. Box Hill boy these days.
Collingwood inside 50s, 41-31. So they've still kind of got that going on. But Essendon are going at 25% goal efficiency for their inside 50s.
Jamie Elliott's going at 100%. I'm going to kick a goal if I have the ball in my hands.
Ridiculous.
Efficiency. Is there a stat for that?
It is here, yeah.
Nakayo Cockatoo. Now that's a shout.
That's a name.
Man, they have missed a lot.
Yeah. But they're incredible at pulling a Tom Stewart out of their ass.
Well, that's what they're known for.
Yeah.
Lawson Humphreys playing twos in the waffle. Come have a go at AFL, mate.
Look at the majority of their stars. They don't draft them. Dangerfield, Jeremy
Trade.
Cameron.
Trade.
They're trades. They're big. They supplement their list with highly talented role players. I think that they pick up with those later picks. It's almost like with the model that they have, they get a high draft pick and they're like, fuck, what do we do with this?
People think you're on Tinder cadence. Lobo has said Tinderella.
I'm on Hinge.
Get it right, mate.
Collingwood have lifted here.
Oh, Bobby.
Couldn't-
He'll
couldn't-
go.
couldn't-
He will
couldn't.
go.
He's clenched
He
the
will
bum
not-
cheeks. Oh, to go yellow.
What a mark.
Oh,
Who's he dapping up there? See,
Bobby. Was that
Let him
Bobby Hill?
celebrate the small stuff.
that's just little snap goal.
Game over.
When they're connected, what do you mean? You reckon it's game over already?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be hard for the Bombers to go again.
What are you made off? Are you made off the right stuff, boys? 5 minutes left.
No, they're not.
I just think the Bombers, for me, like overall, they're going to win games in the season, but like they're not ready, are they? They're in somewhat of a rebuilding phase.
They've never been ready.
No, they haven't.
Brad Shepherd is another one. That's a great shout. West Coast player. I think he was all Australian.
He was a top pick. I think he was pick 7.
Yeah, got concussed and career ended, but
yeah.
I think he was maybe all Australian squad. Maybe all
Was he
Australian.
really? Yeah, I think he might have been actually.
I reckon he was. I'm gonna fact check this.
That's interesting. Okay, guys, have a guess at this. Who is the top disposal getter on the ground?
Was it Josh Dacos before?
Before
Yeah,
it was.
It still is. Fuck's sake.
Nice question.
Who's next? Because I reckon you won't have remembered that.
Was it Josh Chris before?
Next.
Pies.
Pendlebury?
Yes.
Is it?
Bam.
Wow.
23 disposals. Who's top for Essendon?
Durham.
Merritt.
That's the difference. Like, so you're right, Kados. It is Merritt. That is the difference between those two players, though. When Durham gets the ball, you notice it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before.
Yeah.
Like a 34 for Dacos, you go, oh my God, he's like broken lines and powerfully ran through,
Durham's had 12 touches compared to
Wow.
the top guys are all on like 18, 19, 20. Like Dacos has 24.
Merritt's got another clearance there.
Merritt's had
Go
20.
Langford. Come on. Oh, he almost kind of nashed him. Almost hit him with the Paddy Voss.
They need to go here, the Bombers.
They sure do, Dylan. Sullivan warming up. We watched the Pies last week and they just dominated that second half against Brisbane. Just completely took them out of the game, and
It took them
teetering on that.
a little while to break the Bombers here, though, didn't it? Like it wasn't.
Well, they haven't yet, and the Bombers need to stand up. Oh, you can't turn back into traffic. Where's Mychek been all
It's
night?
just rained all game.
Yeah, it has.
Sorry, that's holding the ball, umpire. He runs and turns back. That's holding the ball.
That's ball. That's a merit tax.
Side bottom. Lipinski on the wing.
Good Shepherd. He'll drop this.
Who would you rather in your team? Pat Lipinski or Adam Chera?
Lipinski. Definitely.
Definitely.
I don't know why Chera's so bad. Like, what?
He's just...
I thought he was good.
He's not like a metres gained. When we went and watched Collingwood Carlton, and Carlton have been in bad form, so maybe we need to judge Chera off when Carlton are good. But
You know Kados, when people say this guy's, and they use the phrase, he's a nice player.
Mm.
That is Adam Chera. Like that's who they're talking about when they say that. He's got, I think, like average physicality.
Yeah.
He's just sort of like a medium.
But would he actually be worse than Pat Lipinski?
Yeah, maybe not. Not in physicality, but
No, but like as a player, like
But
would
Pat-
Pat Lipinski be better? Actually be a better player than Adam Chera?
it depends what you mean by a better player, though. If you stuck both of those guys in the VFL, Adam Chera would get more of the ball and have more of an impact than Pat Lipinski. I think when you bring them up to AFL level, where there's a higher degree of athleticism needed to play the game's played at a higher speed. Lipinski's traits of being a bit taller and a better runner
What the hell
come in.
is Perkins doing on the mark?
And
hasn't
now you just
worked.
look like a twat.
Yeah, it has
Nah,
not worked.
they're going to lose by 45 now after that.
Yeah, they might actually.
That is embarrassing.
I've actually never seen that.
I rate it.
And,
If it
and Lipinski, our man, is getting into him, and Chera wouldn't.
In fairness, like the Lipinski versus Chera thing is like it's not as if Lipinski set the world on fire, but I feel like he's got better attributes.
I just feel like he's a bit more dynamic, Lipinski. But if you had Adam Chera in this team, would he be a much more damaging player? I don't know.
In this Pies
Someone
team.
said, doesn't Perkins need to stand? Like, is that...
What do you mean?
Well, he's
he's gotta hold
he's
the
not
mark.
standing on the
Oh.
mark. He's
Yeah.
doing cartwheels in circles.
Yeah, Gritio said it might be a team system thing. I think that's where I stand with it.
With the Chera
Yeah.
Lipinski thing. Yeah, I think like I think they're different players. I think probably ideally when the Dogs drafted Lipinski originally, they would have thought they were getting the next Bont.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Dacos out of the centre.
This is bad.
Oh, my
Oh,
God.
hit him on the shins.
This is all
this-
Perkins'
oh.
fault.
He's going to get slaughtered after this game for
what
that
was
by
that from
Essendon fans.
McGrath?
Oh, there's another Dacos. I forgot about the other Dacos.
Packet of crisps on the wing.
Put it to the hot spot.
Do they have representation to go there?
Goldie's standing there alone.
Decam's coming.
Go wide to the pocket. Great kick. That is the
Yeah,
person
that
that,
was
I
a good
saw.
kick.
Oh,
Adam Chera wouldn't do that.
Pinsky.
Yeah, it's a free. You know when McGrath got the ball just before and just kicked that out? Like surely he had something else in front of him. I can't see what he had in front of him to deal with, but
I wouldn't want to see where McGrath lands if you did that draft again.
yeah, well, he was a pick one.
He was a pick. Essendon Football Club picked up a Canadian back pocket as their pick one.
Canadian back pocket.
Yep.
Yeah, what does that mean?
He's Canadian.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's a Canadian and he's a back pocket. And that's
How Canadian are we talking?
how are you, mate?
A bolt.
A boat. Oh, I'm going to be in the back pocket.
Was he born in
No,
Canada?
That's a we'll
yeah,
work on that.
I believe so.
But like, how are we talking? Like Maple Leaves?
Harley
and-
Reid, Horn Francis,
Andy McGrath.
No, how Canadian are we talking?
and then Andy McGrath.
like, are we talking like lived in Canada till he was like 14? Canadian.
I would say lived in Canada till he was 10 at least.
I mean, he went to Brighton Grammar School.
He did eventually.
What draft was that? Was that 2015?
2016. That's the
Oh, the one you
McCluggage.
redid.
Yeah.
I see.
Oh, born Mrs. I'm going to try and pronounce this. Mississauga, Canada.
Sounds about right to me.
But it's just funny. Like,
I did not know that.
pick number ones. Surely you'd want someone who can influence a game a little bit better than a Canadian back pocket.
McGrath was born in Mississauga,
Yeah.
Ontario, and moved to Melbourne, Australia at age 5 in 2003.
Like Jake Bowie, handy back pocket, but he wasn't a pick one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a similar type. I mean, you'd probably argue that McGrath's got like a little bit more direct speed,
Yeah.
but that's the sort of player that you are talking about. They would have thought when they drafted him that it was going to be a midfielder, I imagine.
Yeah.
Rate these
Yeah.
number one picks. Blind ranking number one pick. No. Nick Revolt out of 10, or give me a grade. That's an A plus.
Can I blind rank that or?
Nick
Well,
Raywat,
We're not going to blind rank
Okay.
the last 25.
Nick Raywat A plus.
Oh, yeah.
Like the best you can get.
Yep.
Do you
me.
take away the plus because he didn't win the flag?
No, because he was competing consistently, and they drew a grand final.
I reckon Jack Raywat's a better player than Nick Raywat.
No,
Wow.
no, I don't.
Better career resume.
Better career, yeah. I don't.
Better
think,
player?
Nick Raywat never got a Coleman.
Nah,
Jack
but
got 3. Jack got 3 premierships.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Who would have
Three
Nick Riewoldt
Commons
have been
versus zero
competing
Commons.
about in a comp? Like more
Jonathan Brown,
more Franklin,
Jonathan
bigger
Brown.
forwards.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it was trickier. Riewoldt's work rate. It's a decent conversation. Like Jack Riewoldt.
I think Jack Riewoldt kicked more goals.
Jack Riewoldt
Yeah.
kicked 786.
I think he kicked more goals.
Kicked 718.
But Nick Riewoldt didn't play as the deep forward. He was very high up the ground. And he was a big part of their system.
Was Jack always a deep? I feel like he worked up the ground pretty well.
I worked out, but not as much as Nick. Like Nick was like, his running was amazing.
Right. Luke Hodge was the next number 1 pick. He was pretty handy.
A+.
Yeah, looking at the accolades here, it's just ridiculous.
Like those types just have to be A+, don't they?
Yeah.
Like what else could you have done?
Yeah. Well, Nick Riewoldt was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-time All-Australian.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-time BNF. That's incredible. That's what you want with your number 1 pick. Brendan Goddard.
Oh, this is more interesting. I really like Brendan Goddard, and I liked how he was probably one of the proto utility types where you would go and draft a player like that, and they could play all these different positions, play centre bounce midfield, take flyers. Like what was he? 190 centimetre marking forward at times when he wanted to be.
Yeah, a bit of a swing man.
Halfback distributor when he wanted to be. Like he could do everything. So I'm going to say A.
A.
Nice.
I was going to go sort of B plus
Really?
areas.
I think he's better than that. Do you think that's partly people have a different look on his career because of the fact that he moved to Essendon at the end?
Yeah.
Makes him seem less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peak of his powers.
2-time All-Australian, 1-time
He's a
BNF.
really good player. I don't know if you guys remember that screamer that he took in the drawn grand final.
Yeah.
That's one of the best marks ever. Over Harry O.
Can Essendon get going? 24 points. No, it's 10 seconds
It's
left.
game over.
I also rate when Goddard lined up for the Dons against St Kilda and they smashed them and he cried.
Yeah.
I thought that was so good.
Yeah.
He cried.
Well, he actually, like, they interviewed him after the game and he was so emotional and he's like, I don't want to see him lose. Like, I hate this. Because he was still so loyal
Well,
to St
Essendon
Kilda.
beat St Kilda and
Yeah,
he
he
cried.
was playing. They were smashing them. And the Saints had gone through that successful period, never won a premiership. All their good players had left. And they'd basically gone full rebuild. They were getting smashed every week. And he was actually in tears that he was inflicting that on St Kilda. I just thought that was interesting. Grow up. I thought it was interesting about his character.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Brett Deledio.
He's back coaching now.
Is he?
Talk about a man that cried. But
Deledio B.
he's on the other side of it.
B.
Yeah, B.
It's magic.
Reeks of B, doesn't it?
You know. Brett Deledio.
What did you guys go What did you guys go for Goddard?
B plus.
What were you?
I don't really know. I'd guess I'd probably go B just to give myself wriggle room.
Yeah, okay.
Mark Murphy.
B.
B.
Yep. Bryce Gibbs.
C.
C plus. He had a couple good years.
Had 3 in a row. Cruiser. I reckon Cruiser was a B. I reckon he was a good ruckman for a long time.
I think he was.
Nah, I don't think so.
Really?
His body never allowed him to
Yeah.
put enough continuity. I'd say like
C.
C.
He was like one of the first like true rucks. I just think like Dean Cox, Matt Cruiser, Aaron Sandilands. I don't know that.
Yeah.
Using the vibes. Jack Watts.
F.
F.
Yeah.
I was just trying to be harsh because I thought we'd be too kind because he's a D's player. He actually became like a genuine contributor for 3 years at the D's before he went to Port and broke his leg.
Yeah. He definitely turned in. I feel like that whole.
I'd
thing
say
with-
like a D minus.
Yeah. Like it was obviously it was a bad one, wasn't it? But also, I think you've got to look at a lot of those players that the D's drafted around that time, similar to what happens with North now, but they would draft a player and they just kind of wouldn't be able to they couldn't develop anyone.
No, they couldn't.
And I think that a lot of those players like Trengove and Scully and
Well, Scully's the next one.
C.
C. Did he get All-Australian at GWS on the wing? He had some
He was in the
phenomenal-
All-Australian 40-man squad in 2016 and 2017.
Yeah, he was a phenomenal wingman
Yeah.
for a couple of years there. And that would have been where they just picked mids.
Yes. Yeah. Like very athletic, but just, I don't know. Just never really got there. And whether that was to do with the formative years at the D's. and that time that they were going through.
Well, he only stayed for 2 years before.
It was only 2, wasn't it?
That is such a joke. Like a club on its knees in the Melbourne Footy Club get a pick 1, and the AFL allows its expansion team to take that. That's so wrong. Like that is so bad.
Well, the Dogs got screwed by that too, didn't they? With Ryan Griffin and
yeah. But then they got Tom Boyd back.
Yeah, they almost did that out of spite. I swear, I remember that period, and it was like because Griffin was their captain.
Yeah,
and the Giants took their captain
and Callum Ward beforehand.
Yes, I forgot about Ward. Yeah, and then it almost felt like they were like we have to get Boyd, just to kind of show them that we've got some muscle.
Yeah.
Let's do some quick fire ones here. David Swallow. Is he still on the list?
Yeah.
He is.
Incredible.
That's just a C for me.
Yeah, C.
I reckon just for the longevity, I'm gonna give him a B. He's been there through thick and thin. He's not playing though, is he? He must be rolling around.
He's just about to come back, I reckon.
Really? Who does he come in for? Real quick fire one.
He won't play. No one.
Come in for.
Yeah, it'd be Graham, but Graham's better.
Can he play anywhere else other than midfield?
Nah. He's a shitball use.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
For the jugular. All right. Next 5. Quick fire. Jonathan Patton.
D. If not F.
Yeah, I'd go D.
I feel harsh on that because like he's
It's
one of
quick
those.
fire
Like,
deal.
sorry. I can't. D.
Lockie Whitfield. A.
B.
B+.
Ooh. Okay.
He's not quite Luke Hodge.
Nah. I could do
If
A.
they win the flag this year, though, and Lockie Whitfield's a part of that, I reckon you'd go A.
He's a great ball mover.
This is a great year. Tom Boyd.
D.
D, even with the flag and the heroics.
You take away the flag and he's an F.
It's 100%. Do you give
Pick
him,
1 lasted till 23 years of age. Like, I'm trying to observe it without the context.
Yeah, okay.
So context aside,
Yeah.
had a lot of battles and won a flag. So, in folklore at the Western Bulldogs, he's a B+ sort of A.
But as a number 1 pick,
But
he's
in terms
D.
of like a
Yeah.
number 1 draft pick that only lasts a handful of a year in the system, D.
Sort of, like rebuttal to that would be that like based on just on the moment for how the Western Bulldogs fans would see him in the game compared to someone like a Jack Watts who doesn't have that, you'd take Boyd, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You take that career.
Yeah. But then I don't know, what's 11 years in the like you're drafting someone at pick 1 and he lasted 180 games. Like not many people last 180 games.
Whose legacy would you take? And that's a separate question there. Would you take Jack Watts' longevity or would you take Tom Boyd's premiership heroics?
Like Jack Watts, through all his adversity, I felt like he got to the other side. Like by the end of his career at the Dees, he was like a starting 22, really reliable contributor. But for the first 8 or 9 years, it was really hard to watch. But those next 2 years when it clicked for him, I don't know. Well,
I think you're right on the number 1. We're having the number 1 draft pick conversation. I think
would you rather
right
your
about
number
that.
1 draft pick play 50 games or 170? But then in the 50 games, you achieve the ultimate and they contribute in folklore, but the 170, they don't. Yeah, it's
I think outside the
What a
context
battle.
of pick 1, I'd take the premiership heroics.
Yeah.
Just because he has that moment.
But it wasn't for the team that he got picked up for. So does that
True.
come into it?
Yeah, true.
Oh, well, that's another thing.
That's another rebuttal.
That almost is the number 1 pick thing again, separating that. But I think the career, I think you take Tom Boyd just because he's got the moments to share that with all those Western Bulldogs people who will love him forever.
Yeah. The fourth quarter's back on here, but I want to finish this off. It has started absolutely bucketing down at the MCG. All right, we got to Tom Boyd. Paddy McCartan, F.
Yeah, that's just a fail,
But
isn't it?
these are all like some of these are out of their control
Oh,
because
well,
he was a gun player. But that's an F.
we don't bring factors into it.
That's an F number 1 draft pick.
You'll
career.
notice most of these fail picks are key position forwards.
Yeah.
True. And we'll get
Or
to...
Canadian back pockets. No, I'm joking.
We haven't got there yet.
Sorry, Essendon fans.
McGrath's just getting absolutely
Yeah,
killed.
I'm joking.
Jacob Vietering, B?
B?
Yeah.
Jacob Wiedering.
Yeah.
Oh, A.
What? He's Luke
By
Hodge.
the end of his career, he'll be A.
Luke
He's
Hodge
Luke
is
Hodge,
A.
is he?
He's A+.
You said that flipping Lockie Whitfield's a B and you're giving Vietering an A.
Wiedering's like to draft a key position defender as a number one pick and that to go that well.
Yeah,
And the rarity of that type of player.
They could have had Josh Shackey at pick 2.
Well, so you're saying it's more...
I don't look at it just the outcome of the career. I somewhat put myself into the recruiter's shoes. And
so is it more risky to take the best key defender, the best key position player in the draft at pick 1
it's just statistically more risky to take a key position player
than it is to take like a running halfback?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It just is because more of them fail.
I won't question you on that.
Is that because at 18 you can see more of what the midfielder is going to provide in the next 2 or 3 years of their career than it is? Because there would be an element of rawness in the key positions game, so you got to project a little bit more.
Yes, they've got to be able to in the youth. Another thing I think like Tom Hawkins was talking about it at the start of the season, and he talked about with key position players why it's such a gap is because the muscle that they need to put on is enormous. The extra weight.
And you probably can't even predict how they'll fill out and how they'll use that extra muscle.
Yeah.
And
so you can make you can make guesses, I suppose, or what's the more scientific word for a guess?
Hypothesis.
You can make a hypothesis about their physicality and their strength and how that's going to look.
What did you say?
Guesstimate. What's a more scientific word for guess?
They're a little bit, as a midfielder at that age, they're a little bit looking like they're going to look. It's closer.
Yeah. Bosch. Peter Wright kicks Essendon back in it.
You don't happen to have a can of Coke?
Let's
A
have a
can
look.
of
Or
Coke?
maybe
See what I can
some
do.
sort of bubbly?
I bought beers.
He brought beers. No
I need an
Coke.
upper, not a downer.
Speak about bubbles.
I'll tell you what I do have, and this is not going to be enticing.
We're looking at refreshments here.
Do you have lemon?
Yeah.
Oh,
here we
a
go.
mineral water with lemon if possible. Thank you.
So we've made it to...
I think the bubbles will perk me up.
We've made it to 2015, and I just want to finish this because I feel like we can get a video out of this. Andy McGrath, the Canadian back pocket.
Hey. Wouldn't that be a backflip?
C. No, but as a number one
C.
pick. Are we saying as a number one? No,
C
he's a D.
minus.
He's a D.
Yeah, it's a D.
Wow.
It's a D.
So all my sort of joking and jibing has
Sound like Steve from Minecraft there, do?
chicken jockey.
I don't know what that means. Yeah. Is there a lemon in there?
Can you just see?
Well, there might be down the bottom. I might have to get my rebuttal
I
out.
might have to trim the bottle out. Dacos. Finds Elliott. What are we at? 18 points. That's with them kicking that goal.
Here's your lemon.
Oh, sweet.
sir.
I'm going to cut that up.
Thank you, mate.
Next one, Cam Rayner. A.
B.
He's won a flag, bro. You just said he was the best player to ever come out of the draft.
Yeah,
No,
I'm-
you're not saying it.
I'm not sure he's A yet, but will be, I guess.
So B plus. I'll go Cam Rayner A minus.
But he doesn't have like the Brownlow norm, BNF, or All Australian yet.
True.
So A is like.
I think B stiff though.
But
It's B plus A minus.
yeah, I'll go B. Plus.
I always laugh when coaches sometimes will say like they don't believe in the draft, or people say they don't believe in the draft when every player comes from the draft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you just
Yeah,
true.
gotta
true.
get the picks right.
Dylan's talking about like
That's funny.
coaches not rating the draft, but all the players come out of the draft. You're
Yeah.
not mic'd up anymore, Dylan. You're all right, mate. Sam Walsh.
B?
What, you'd put Sam Walsh in the same level as Cam Rayner
Rayner.
now?
Yeah.
Crazy.
I think Rainer's better.
Crazy stuff.
Sam Walsh. Oh, multiple lemons now. Sam Walsh is like, should win a Brownlow.
I feel like he should have, and he hasn't been able to get his body back to the level where he could.
True.
I feel like he had a
Thank you,
very
mate. That's
high
unreal.
guesstimate potential. Now, it's just, I feel like Sam Walsh's potential is potentially dropped in the last little bit.
Diminishing.
I want him to get it right. And
He's a gun at
it's
full
well
flight.
stated that I'm not the biggest Carlton fan in
Thank
the
you.
world.
Thanks for that.
But I want to see a good player do well. And at his heights, Sam Walsh is an All-Australian level player, and I want to see him get there.
Is Sam Walsh in that same category of Andy Brayshaw, where he'd be a good player to build around? If he was in a worse team, he'll stand up for you with his mentality.
He's a standard driver.
Are you about to say but something?
The but was probably, but when he's in a team that is starting to push, does he actually have that extra bit of quality?
I reckon he does.
I think he does. That 2021 year where he came third in the Brownlow, he was...
got third in the Brownlow.
Yeah.
Frick.
It was Ollie
Which
Wines.
we know is everything.
Yeah. Oh, the Brownlow. It was Ollie Wines, Bont, and Sam Walsh, and then Clary, I think.
Incredible.
Say that again.
I'm pretty sure 2021 was Ollie Wines, Bont,
Schmelly,
Walsh, and then Clary.
So like take Bont out of that group, and that's like my problem with the Brownlow. it's just guys that win clearance. It's just like contested footy guys.
That's funny.
Caddy keeps the door open. So he's a little baby face.
Yeah, he is. Silent killer.
All right, let's roll through the last 6 to finish this off. Matt Rao, B+.
B.
Well, I'm going on what they've done.
Yeah.
But I guess anyone from here on in hasn't done much.
I think Matt Rao's fairly well, like overall, when you look at number 1 picks, he was a fairly safe choice.
He's pretty well poised to...
Yeah, I think the ceiling was fairly low with Matt Rao.
Yeah.
What, like you knew what you were going to get type thing?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
He's a little bit more explosive than that, but yeah, sorry. Quick
Jamari Ugle-Hagan.
Wow.
Oh.
Almost like not even in the game at the moment.
Will he play? Is the talk that he will walk away from the AFL?
I'm going to go positively, and I'm going to say attributes-wise, and if he gets back to it...
100%.
B?
Yeah.
I found Jamara like a player that probably even when he was playing and playing well, as much as he does have so many traits, he didn't play with the highest level of physicality that a key position forward needs.
He did meander through games, but I don't know if it was last year, but there was games where he'd kick 4 or 5 and he would have that application in game, and you went, man, when he closes the gap and starts doing this more consistently, it's going to explode for him. Like his attributes are like, his ingredients to be a footballer are crazy.
As a key forward, would you prefer that type that can run and jump at the ball and has all this athleticism and probably like, is a good kick and all that sort of thing? If he gets the ball a little bit higher up the field, he can kind of create, pretty much has everything to be like one of the best players in the competition. Would you rather that as a key forward though, or would you just rather the guy that just fights for everything?
Mongrel.
And I think the 2024 draft is actually a snapshot at that, where you had all these key forwards, these nice high-end key forwards that everyone was talking about, like Harry Armstrong and Job Shanahan. They all slid a little bit, and everyone took the combative, hard-working key forward, Jonty Fall, at the top pick. When I say everyone, Richmond did, but everyone wanted him.
Kako. Oh, what the hell?
Goalkeeper.
Horn Francis.
A. Like...
Yeah, just hasn't...
A caliber.
Yeah.
Got everything to achieve yet, but has all the tools to achieve it. Cadman? C.
B.
Yeah, B. C's too harsh.
I love him as well, but I just feel like he's not shown enough consistently.
Is that too young though? Like,
we
have to take that into consideration.
You see little glimpses from him every now and again.
Yeah.
Harley Reid.
A.
Sam Lawler.
A.
Beautiful.
We got into a nice little rhythm there.
Yeah.
Sam Lawler doesn't make mistakes. Like he's he's not getting 30 pluses yet, but just they'll kick it to him and he's sort of either not in the best position or a little bit outnumbered, and he takes the clunk. He sort of wins a contest you don't expect him to. He'll be under a bit of duress and pressure, and he'll just make a little smart decision, like just little traits early of like a really good footballer. Yeah.
Just all of those fundamentals he's doing so well.
Gets his opportunity in front of goals.
And he takes it.
Yeah.
Who would you rather take, Harley Reid or Sam Lawler?
I thought you were going to say Sam Lawler or Murphy Reid.
Man, I don't know. I think I'm saying Harley Reid. I think Harley Reid. They're actually very similar. Like
you know,
Lawler's got a bit of a jump and a hang on him as well.
The only thing that makes me double take this, like I think the answer is Harley Reid, but the thing that makes me like just hesitate a little bit is like the attitude of the player and the mentality.
That's all it is, hey?
Yeah.
That's all it is with Ali at the moment. But it's a frustrating time to be a West Coast player.
It is.
How have Collingwood got the ball back?
We saw the replay and
kickers.
the Canadian back pocket had it.
What position
Don't
would that
give
be in
him the
ice
ball.
hockey? Like little,
It'd
come on. You're a big ice
be a
hockey
little
man.
winger in ice hockey.
What positions are there in ice hockey?
Oh, you're pushing him here.
Slytherin.
Goalkeeper. There's wingers, there's forwards, and I think there's defensemen. I think.
Is that literally it?
Yeah, I think so.
He's missed up. It's good for the game.
McGrath what? McGrath is a Canadian... what do we go with?
Back pocket.
Back pocket. Slytherin.
We got any comments there, Drews? About the
Harley Reid will go crazy when he moves back to Victoria. That mentality will completely change. Who would you compare Harley Reid's mentality to?
Jason Horne-Francis.
Yeah, there's definitely like there's some shades. I feel like I always saw Jason Horne-Francis as like when he came to North and that sort of thing. Like he was a little bit. It sounds bad to say this, but I just think he was still like very immature. A little bit.
He was carrying on.
Yeah, and there was childlike behaviour in the sense that I don't know, like people. This is a weird thing, but like people said that when he got drafted by North, Marnie was saying the other night that he like slept in his North kit and stuff like that. Like I don't know, he just seemed like a bit of a child. And
Jason Horne-Francis slept in his North kit.
Yeah, on
they
draft
gave-
night.
on draft night, they gave
he
him
was
a kit.
he was doing all the media on the phone, and then there was a photo that next morning, and it was him like asleep, and he's in his North kit.
Yeah, and then it was funny. Like when he went back to Port Adelaide, he must have turned up to the first training and he didn't have kit, and he was wearing his North kit to the Port Adelaide training, and then he got a lot like I don't know, just stuff like that. Where
What the frick?
I feel like other players would have maybe.
No way.
No, he's missed it.
Yeah, but then on field,
He's a monster.
There was games in WA in his first
For
year
North-
where he
for
was
North, you
like
mean.
cracking it. Yeah,
Yeah.
cracking the sads.
Yeah, cracking it at senior players and stuff like that. Which
But
Yeah.
I think like 18 is so young.
it's incredibly
It
young.
is just
You're
so
an actual
young.
child.
That's why as well
I'm-
with
yeah.
with the draft too. Like there's a lot of mistakes made in the draft, and I think that's part of the picture as well. That we're drafting guys directly out of like year 12, whereas in American sports and stuff, they're drafting players as basically adults. Like
Yeah.
Well, the NBA, they'd be like 19, 20. I suppose they just get that extra year, a year away from home where they go to college type thing. But they don't all do 4 years. Lots of them just go high school, 1
Sure,
year of
sure.
college, and then
But
NBA.
it definitely helps with that extra maturation, like that
yeah.
early
Get away from home.
get away from home. And I think that's like a bit of a problem with the AFL in general. Like this, I know the home factor thing, it's often just used as an excuse, but I don't know, like
Get some life experience
get
up
some
here.
life experience. I always say it.
Coming from a man with plenty of it.
They just someone needs to compete there. It was Kako on Howe. Anyone give Essendon a chance here?
Well,
It's-
if you could bring up the clearance numbers, Dylan, that would be...
Probably one goal away from being that danger
Yeah, it
type
feels
of
like
margin.
next goal has to be... Oh, yeah, cheers,
Essendon
Jeff.
have massively closed the gap in overall clearances. 31 to 37 overall.
It's said before 9-1 this quarter. Oh, you can't drop the ball and you've done it. You've ruined the game.
Jeez, they were lenient there.
No, they've given it, haven't they? Oh, no. Side bottom walks away with it. What a smother from Dersma.
Dersma. I think Dersma.
You gotta win this ball.
He's a good player.
He was better at Port Adelaide, wasn't he? I suppose he was just a better side.
I feel like he's just been
Merritt bounces it in the wet. That's brave. Top.
it's a
The
poor
goal
kick.
square.
Oh, Caddy.
Oh, Pendlebury just walks it out like it's nothing.
Jeez,
Little
Gresham.
check side. Oh, that's a Kados lane kick, that. Little check side on the run.
Gresham's got to do better there. I thought that was a really poor kick by Merritt.
I don't.
Oh, really?
Stop the goal square.
Yeah, but it was a 2-on-1.
Yeah, I don't think he had much to go to, though. Like, Caddy was in the right area.
Yeah, but look at that.
It-
3-on-1 nearly.
Yeah, but you got the crumbers at the feet. They probably just got sucked in too much. I don't know. Hard to judge. Woody compared Bailey Smith to Harley Reid with the mentality thing. What do you make of Bailey Smith's antics?
Nah, Bailey
recently?
Smith isn't
He's in a league of his
immature
own.
anymore. I think Bailey Smith has...
Jamie Elliott.
Bailey
says game.
Smith's antics remind me of like Justin Bieber when he was young. Like it looks like someone who got really like beyond football famous. He gets paparazzi'd when he goes to Sydney and on the Gold Coast and stuff. Like he is a genuine Australian-wide celebrity. It goes beyond AFL. And that'll happen when he was like 20, 21. And it's hard to be that famous and sort of that well-known as a footballer as well, because football, there's a lot of tall poppy syndrome. So there's a bit of like now the whole league, you know, he's 20, 21. And now because he's blown up on socials, blown up on TikTok, people film him wherever he goes. It's like the league almost like turn their back on him, where they went, he thinks he's too good for us now. He thinks he's too famous.
I hate the argument that people do in these situations where because Bailey Smith was an influencer or whatever, then all of a sudden he like deserves criticism. You know what I mean? Like,
but I think he took off online, not from him posting. It was like people were posting about him.
Yeah.
Like TikTok accounts would get like 200,000 likes posting about this like a blonde-headed footballer
with his shirt off.
was that literally it?
Yeah,
I wasn't even living here
creating the content. People were creating the content about him.
Yeah, it was just like, oh my God, Bailey Smith is so hot. Content.
And it just completely blew up.
Yeah.
And now he gets like paparazzi'd and like I would say his antics, as I said, like just look like someone who got really famous really quickly.
Didn't know what to do with it.
And it sort of changed him a little bit. Like,
Woody's saying that's what's going on in WA with Harley Reid, the WA media.
Yeah.
Different.
It's different
Harley
context.
Reid's like a tier below Bailey Smith, but it's similar like
pressure from media. Yeah,
it's all with Harley. It's all football, right?
Yeah.
I feel like
True.
Bailey's is very in that commercial space.
it went outside of he became bigger than the AFL.
Yeah. Whereas all of Harley Reid's fame revolves around his footballing ability and what he can do for the team that he goes to. Where I don't think anyone ever no one would have ever seen Bailey Smith as this like generational footballer.
No.
Oh, what a tackle.
unmerit.
Is that not holding the ball? Didn't have enough time?
No prior.
I can't believe the Dockers are on after this. What the frick?
I can't believe that. I'm so excited that
good.
is on.
Is that not holding the ball?
That's I think that's that one again, Druzy.
I'd say no prior.
Your stream didn't lag. The same thing just happened twice.
Yeah, I'd say he got tackled and like didn't really have enough. And they almost want you to drop it now. Like they've changed the rules where they want you to drop it and keep the ball fumbly rather than like hold it in. So it's like it's almost encouraged.
How quickly has the sling tackle gone out of the game?
Yeah, the players don't get enough credit for the way that they can change their behaviour and adapt, and for the better of the game. Like some of the dumping tackles, and a player might get a week, but they wouldn't always, were shocking. Like pinning the arms and driving a player's face into the ground. Like
Couldn't agree more.
It's like the players don't get enough credit, and I love that, you know, people say the game's gone soft because there's not big hits anymore. But I love that like two players at full speed can come to a contest. Player A can realise player B is going to get there first and in the split second adjust to tackle. Like they're both about to win it, and then within like a couple of milliseconds they've adjusted and they've gone lower to tackle. Back in the day, they would just all slam into each other.
That's the thing. It was like our game compared to other like invasion sports, if you want to use a word. Like we weren't kind of doing that. We weren't able to adjust to those things. Like every other sport has a rule where if you're late, you're in the wrong. It doesn't matter if you're playing the ball or whatever. You're still making a mistake. If you do it in soccer, if you come in with a slide tackle, which is a legal tackle, and you're late and you hit the body, then you get suspended. You get a red card. You get weeks. We just took a long time to adjust to that, I feel.
Yeah.
Given this game is coming to a bit of a natural conclusion, Jamie Elliott's kicked 4. He's been unreal. Who've been your best on? We've been talking a lot.
I assume Nick.
I think Nick Dacos has been great.
Does he win the medal?
Jamie Elliott.
Yeah, I reckon Elliott wins it.
Elliott's got to be right up there.
I haven't even noticed.
I feel like this has been a really good performance overall from the Pies. Just the fact that Essendon, they're not easy beats. They're like a pretty good solid side, underachieving at times, but they're young. They came at Collingwood several times in this game, and I feel like Collingwood they're in that sweet spot at the moment where they're able to just like repel those.
2 metre Peter
They
and
both
Paddy,
wanted that, didn't they?
They both marked that. So who would you give your medal to? Let's look at the stats so we don't get this wrong.
I'm going to go without the stats just to test myself.
I'm going to go Nick Dacos.
Yeah, you can't really go wrong with that pick.
I'm going to go...
Nick Dacos, 28 in a goal. Josh and I think Sidebottom have 33, but they don't have a goal. I think Nick Dacos has been better than them.
I'd go Jamie Elliott personally.
With a little four.
I'm trying to think of other positions. Rucks, the defenders.
Every time the ball goes near Jamie Elliott at the moment, he just gets
missed a couple of settings early.
Did he?
I think yes. I reckon he did.
Degoe wouldn't be in that top group for me. He's done a couple of things, but I'm trying to think about those like McCreary types. He hasn't been particularly good in this game.
No, he hasn't done much today. How's Hobbsy for the medal?
Maynard kicked that great goal. Yeah, I'm going Elliott. I think it's open though, yeah?
18 touches, 4 goals.
For Elliott?
7 marks, yeah.
Yeah, so I've got to go Elliott, surely.
Cool. We'll look ahead to the Freo and Crows game. Dill, pre-stream, you said you're a bit off Freo. Why? Why are you off Freo?
I just think the same problems that we've been talking about with Freo have just been there now for, you could almost go 2-3 seasons. Oh,
got to be clean below the knees.
Oh, he's done well.
Done. Shrugs the tackle.
Yeah. Fuck's sake. Just put that through to make it a little bit more interesting. They don't seem to be able to resolve these problems, and I was certain. Well, I think ball movement is still a big one. I think
disagree with that because against Melbourne, all of our score was from the back half. We stayed in the game from ball transition.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't watch what other
that
problem?
game.
Yeah. What other? Well, I think we've moved the ball pretty well this year.
Maybe you're like the Dees where, like in 2025, you need 3 modes and
you're tweaking
and your handball mode when it goes, because the Dockers can just go end to end in like the flash of a pan. But then that chip mark that comes out that goes a little bit side to side, maybe you haven't nailed that second gear.
Gotcha. So like we only have
when there's teams like Geelong or like Lions are probably the best when they play that chip mark.
But they can switch up modes. I like that way of thinking about it.
Yeah, the Lions are the kings at that. Oh, Hoskin Elliott.
Where's he been all day?
Yeah, I have not seen
Put
him.
a ribbon on it.
He's just hopped in off the...
It's game over.
Out of the grandstands.
The Lions are definitely... They'll be in that chip mark and barely hurting you and just moving the ball around and they'll just wait for that little sign of weakness. And then they'll just hit you at a ton of bricks basically.
Yeah.
Like come straight through. But back to Freo, I don't know. I just thought they would hit this season. They would be really, really hungry to start this season well. They've got Shea Bolton in the team who was... I think last year their biggest problem was they could generate inside 50s. They could win clearance, take field position.
Yeah.
And be able to lock it in, but they didn't have that finishing touch. And it doesn't look like the new acquisitions are really helping that. So
he has been good though.
He's been great.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. It's nothing against Bolton. But you're not playing good footy.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know. It's like, you're at that point where you're starting to add pieces and it's like, do you need any more good players? I don't know.
Yeah,
so then it comes
I think they do. I think there's, and it might be injury, but Oscar McDonald won't be in the premiership side.
No.
I don't know. I'm only going, if you went off what he produces every week, he probably would be. But when I see a Corey Wagner who's been chewed up and spat out of a couple of sides, I go, is he a placeholder or is he
he's shit.
Or has he just reinvented himself when he is a contributor?
Fair point, but
no, I don't think he's a good player. The one thing I would say,
every week
Corey Wagner isn't shit.
He plays his role.
He's not shit. Maybe he was for North Melbourne.
Yeah,
you haven't seen him play for Freo. Let's be real. Jamie Elliott to steal the medal.
Has he?
Wow, he probably has. He
Jeez,
probably has.
I love the celebrations too. Just these ones.
His bloke must
so
be cold.
I reckon they are a couple of and it might be in season. Some players might go up a level or whatever. And you've got a couple injured as well, don't you?
I feel a little bit though this is the Carlton disease where it's we need the perfect team.
Yeah.
And
teams...
That's not a bad point.
Teams make do with like some weak players. Like,
But you feel like Geelong, if they had Corey Wagner and Oscar McDonald, they'd still be fine.
He'd be just
Like,
okay, wouldn't he? Like they've got guys in their team like Jack Henry, who nobody thought was a great key defender, seems to do his job every week. Like you don't need, and this is why I criticise North Melbourne as well, my own team. Like we don't need all these draft picks. Like we don't need the best young players. We need to get something right with the system and the mentality and all those sorts of things. So
yeah, looking at sides like Collingwood, Hawthorn, Geelong, it doesn't matter who plays. It's the system that stacks up.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, it obviously matters on some level.
But even Hawthorn the other day against Geelong butchered the ball all day, terrible in front of goal, and they were in the game. But like, if that's Freo or North, we're losing
we
by
roll
10
over.
goals.
Yeah. Yeah, and I appreciate that you put yourselves in our bracket, which you're not that bad. But yeah, you're not...
You're only as good as your last loss.
I don't trust Freo to fight out those games still.
Yeah.
I still think it's a maturity thing. Like,
Yeah.
And it might happen. Like so many teams in the last few years sort of go 50-50 through the first 8 rounds and then it clicks, and Freo aren't that far away. I don't even think the Blues are that far away. like there's so many teams that'll come good the further this season goes on, and I think Freo are going to be one of those.
I hope so. We've been like this is just classic Freo talk, but we have been, I think, at least a couple of weeks ago, we were the youngest side in one of the rounds that rolled out. And we've also cycled through like 34 or 35 players already this year. So like we're testing our list depth. That's one where you say it too quick and you say list depth.
I also think though in this conversation we're getting a little bit too lenient on the fact that we're looking at those teams like Collingwood and Geelong who are older lists. Like if we were having this conversation 5 years ago, I swear we'd be saying they're too old.
Yeah,
and it's better to have and Freo are in the sweet spot. You know what I mean? So like
we're far from the sweet spot. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, you're younger than that, obviously, but I don't know. I just think this idea that you have to be in everything's got to be perfect.
Yeah.
We've got to be in the right age demographic. We've got to have this perfect build. Like you can win you're allowed to win a premiership any year.
Yeah,
you don't always have to be
100%.
building for the future. Or
I think we were sort of talking about that. Check, bang, hold. Yes. I think we were talking about that at the start a bit. Like, I don't want to have to be a Brisbane. I don't want to have to go to 20 prelims in 20, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they went through, and maybe you do have to and get those learnings and mature and whatever. But, like, when you've got the talent that we do, there's no reason we can't.
you don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's why I was hot on Hawks last year. I was like, you got to try and win this.
Yeah.
Because you don't know how many losses in prelims and things and semi-finals and whatever it is that you can have. So
imagine they get over Port. They could have given it a
they were playing
fair
unbelievable
shake.
footy.
They would have beaten Sydney.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Well, they're on that similar trajectory that Collingwood were when they came up. Like,
Well, even the prelim season, right? Where they lost by
to Sydney by a point.
Yeah.
So that could have been Hawthorn last year. But yeah, maybe I'm just being a bit too naive, and you do need those experiences. But I also feel like we've been under JL for long enough now. Maybe the game evolves every year, and you sort of got to switch up the game style. But when we just look lost with our method, it's so frustrating. Especially like
It's a massive game tonight.
yeah,
It's huge.
If you pinch
Yeah.
that, you're back and you're building, and it is what last week was just a blip in the radar. That'll happen to every team. Like Geelong are going to lose one they probably should win. They already lost to St Kilda. Like every team, like the competition's so even. Where if you're we got beaten by North by 10 goals. Like it's like if you are off, teams will punish you.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You get back home, you do a number on the Crows, and you'll be well and truly back. Like you're literally 3 hours away from being back.
3 hours away.
I feel like there's two things simultaneously happening though. Like you've got like at the moment with social media and footy media, you've got this sort of saturation where on the one hand you've got people, they'll be like writing off teams and saying this team's cooked, etc., etc. And then the rebuttal to that, Jersey, is that like every team can get back. Like if they've had a bad start, it doesn't matter that they've had a bad start because they're just going to come good.
Yeah, it's super early days still. But like the thing that frustrates me, and it's the same frustrations as last year, is that Sydney game was so winnable. We had that in our grasp and we dropped it. You go up against the 0-5 Dees at the G, who we've pumped the last however many years, and they do a number on us when they're 0-5. I know their backs were against the wall and it was going to click for them, but...
Yeah, if you are that team, you just ruthlessly get it done.
Yeah, you just have to bank those wins.
Geelong just win that.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like, if we are building, we have to start banking those. We can't just be this inconsistent side. We have to become more ruthless.
It's the same. It's exact same conversation we had about the Gold Coast. And at what point do you get on the bandwagon?
Yeah.
And they do that same thing where like they come to Melbourne. You've got to beat Richmond there.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
As much as I still have high hopes for them in the season, but like, again, if you're a good, established, mature team, you just win that game.
Who are you tipping tonight?
My question...
No, I asked you the question. You answer.
I want to answer the question with... I think Adelaide.
I'm leaning towards Adelaide.
Did Adelaide beat the Giants?
Yeah.
That was wet. That was a hard game.
They haven't looked bad in one game this year, the Crows.
Dockers by 7.
We don't win close games, bro.
Is it in Perth?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that
it
obviously
is.
helps, but...
Do you have any ins or outs?
Quinton Narkle is debuting for the Dockers with Oscar McDonald.
Geez, so who are the big injuries that are forcing all of this? You got...
Paddy Voss is suspended, which has pushed Oscar McDonald in. Jager O'Meara is out.
Corey Wagner? Our man?
Wagner.
Out.
I think he's back in.
These aren't injuries that you would say are like right on the upper end of your...
No, but Pat Voss is important because he's had a big year for us and he can genuinely play that ruck forward role very well for us. Oscar McDonald can't.
I just mean in the context of like...
Luke Jackson.
But yeah, there's one.
Is he out?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
He did his hammy.
That's a big out. Yeah.
He did his hammy a month ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Crows have they started 3-0. They were just scoring goals for fun.
They're good against Gold Coast. They lost.
Yeah, good against Geelong and they lost. And then they beat GWS.
Yeah, they haven't played a bad game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So maybe they have a week off in Perth. I hope they do. Collingwood get the win on Anzac Day. Essendon were up for the fight, but they just didn't really have the polish in the end.
To tie a ribbon on that game for me, I would just say that's like exactly where these two teams are at.
Yeah, that's the gap.
Yeah.
What is the gap in the end? 41 points?
I think I said 33.
I said 12.
And you went minus.
Did I?
That's
Jamie
funny.
Elliott with the 5th will win the medal. I think Ginnivan won it with 5.
Did he really?
I think you need to get about 5.
Who
to
are
win it.
some medalists?
Mark McGrath, whatever his name is. He's like that rogue one that keeps coming up.
Oh, not Mark McVeigh.
No, this Collingwood player.
Oh,
I think his name's literally Mark McGrath one year.
What?
I just have this recollection of you remember like Spike McVeigh, the player that played.
I
for
loved
Essendon?
him.
And he was a coach at the Giants. He was like an interim coach.
Yeah.
When Leon Cameron
Yeah.
got fired.
Spike McVeigh.
Spike McVeigh, so random.
Rochelle and Peatling are in.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that too.
Wow.
Darcy Fogarty out.
So James
Oh.
James Aish has been omitted.
They're going small ball.
Yeah, James Aish came in last week because Chappie woke up crook. Chappie was meant to play on Cozzy Pickett.
So Aish has really been pushed out of your 20.
Yeah, he has been for the last 2 years.
Yeah, interesting.
Since the rise of Chapman and Draper, really.
Yeah, fair. Peatling comes in. Fogarty's out with that like sternum.
He's out with that sternum.
Well, did you
What a
guys see that
sentence.
hit?
On who? Fogarty.
Fogarty,
I
yeah.
don't think I did, actually.
Just a big hip and shoulder, and it sort of, I think it like dislodged his like
I did see that actually.
collarbone
Yeah.
slash sternum. It was a weird,
Dislocated sternum.
yeah.
Yeah, Narkle's an interesting one, though. I think he had like 38 touches in the waffle on the weekend, last
I
weekend.
think we've seen enough of Quinton Narkle to know what he is.
Well, we're playing him as...
He's not getting 38
I
touches.
think we're playing him half forward, so let's see.
Yeah, I think he'll be okay. Like he's a mature age player. Would you get him in the mid-season draft or something?
No, we traded him... Oh, no, SSP it was.
SSP, yeah.
And he's mates with Cozzy Pickett. And we also have young Deadly Dudley, who's Cozzy Pickett's cousin. So
Okay, so who takes Thilthorpe?
it'll be like the Sam Darcy strat, where we just sort of all team defend. There'll be different matchups on him all day, but Pierce mainly, I reckon.
Yeah,
Which I'm not massive on. I actually reckon we do need a bit of a reshuffle in our defence. I think we're getting a bit jaded back there.
Yeah, I reckon your defence, I've said this on the stream numerous times, but I feel like your defence is a little bit just overplayed. I feel like it's protected from the midfield dominance, so you don't get those really direct attacks from the opposition like some teams do.
Draper could be a key defender.
Yeah. And
He's great.
He matches up on like Kerno and stuff, so he has it. But like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not like, Alex Pearce has been a great player for us and still is a great player for us. But wouldn't be surprised if he is not our man leading us out the next grand final. I reckon it could be Sarong, and I wouldn't be surprised if Pearce shipped off to Tassie because he only signed a 2-year deal with us as well. Like Chad Bourne has just re-signed 2 years, and that just tells me he's trying to get one more, trying to get a flag with Sydney before going home.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
2 years doesn't scream commitment, does it?
No, 100%. And
Because 2 years, like, I suppose it's 2-year extension. So next year he gets that year off, but then the following year it's the same conversations.
Yeah.
exactly.
And that's what happened with De Koning. De Koning signed 2 years, and it's like for a year no one spoke about him leaving, and then the next year straight away people speak about it. Like it only a 2-year extension only gives you 1 year off the pressure.
Yeah, because it comes so far out.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. The medal. It's got to be Elliot, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think if you get 5, that's enough. 4, I still would have said Dakes.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose 4, it doesn't scream best on ground.
5's a little bag.
Yeah. Well, it's yeah.
Oh my
What?
God. He did get like 34. Didn't get on the scoreboard.
He did not
though.
look like the best on ground.
No, he looked like the oldest on ground.
Although in the second quarter, I was like, "Seal side bottoms, the man." Trying to.
He was. Yeah, he was good.
That was incredible.
I don't know. Like I feel like this happens every time I'm watching a game and there's a medal or a best on ground given. I always think it should have gone to the forward, and it goes to the mid that gets 35.
Midfielder. But yeah, big game coming up. Freo v Crom. I think we've had their number at Optus over the years, but that doesn't really matter when we've had the Dees number and they've pumped us.
What worries you the most about them? The forwards?
It's nothing that worries me about them because I think if Freo's best, and this is a cliche answer, but I think if our best shows up, we can beat any team in the competition. So nothing about the Crows makes me go like, oh no, they're going to get us. If we show up with our best, I think we win. And we are the favourites to win. But if our midfield is off, Rankin, Dawson, Soligo scares me.
Midfield doesn't really scare me. I just get worried that it's sort of inevitable that they kick 110. Like that's the big challenge is can you turn that 120 that they kick every week to 80 and then you guys score like
well, we're
90.
gonna have to be on our best game, aren't we?
Yeah.
To match up with that. A good promising thing is they don't run a tag, and every game that Sarong has been tagged, we've lost, and every game that he hasn't been tagged, he's been best on ground.
Could they could. I feel like they could chuck a James Peatling
Yeah,
straight into
potentially,
Sarong.
yeah.
I feel like that's a great matchup.
Shucks. We got him.
They haven't been, like, I agree with you, they haven't been running any hard tags like that. I'm trying to think about the matchups that they've come up against. Like, could have tagged a Holmes. I'm not sure if they did. That's maybe not the best matchup for the Crows either with Peatling. So I feel like that is an issue with a player like Sarong too. It's like they are fairly easy to tag.
God, that forward line they have: Keys, Jet, Dilthorpe, Freak, Rankin, Freak, Rochelle, Gunn, Tex, Veteran, Neil Bull, and Heart and Soul. Like, as a front six, it doesn't get much better than that.
And then you got Curtin in off the bench to be like a sort of sweeping tall as well.
Kadaiki Moses come to save us.
Sid Draper will come on, play a few minutes in there.
They're stacked now.
They're absolutely stacked.
Oh, God. Get Oscar McDonald out of this side ASAP, please. Watch him have the game of his life tonight.
So who's those players for Freo that you mentioned that you reckon, you said, Kados, that you don't think they're good enough to be playing
Won't be in our
in
premiership side type thing.
Question marks I have Narkle, Carl Warner, Dudley, Oscar Mack, Corey Wagner to a tiny degree.
I'm backing in Wagner.
maybe a
like him.
Matt Johnson.
Nah, Jono will be good for
Gun.
us.
So there's almost like 3 on the bench and 1 or 2 on the ground.
Yeah. Johnson's a player that will get there, but just needs
He moves.
time.
He moves well.
But like the coaches love him. and they
Everyone's
always
got
have.
Johnsons. Like, there's no team that doesn't have Johnson
And
types.
then in the emergencies, like there's not 3 there where you go, oh, like I
Stiff
think
to miss type thing. Yeah.
yeah, or like 3 that you go, oh, if they come in, like Bailey Bamfield feels like a whipping boy. James Aish, he was
Yeah.
good for a couple of years, but he feels like a whipping boy.
Oh, he's just not athletic
I suppose
enough.
their emergencies
Who's that?
aren't that great either.
James Aish.
yeah.
No, you are right though. And like, who do we have to come back in? We have Voss, Jackson. Who do we have in our defence?
Fifey.
Yeah, Fife probably isn't best 22.
Is he getting
anymore.
back?
Nah.
He just did a hamstring a couple of weeks ago. He was like a week off and then did a hamstring. He's going to be out for like 6 weeks.
Yeah, Jaeger, you said.
Oh yeah, Jager. So yeah, got to get the job done.
So it's testing your depth. The players that are out aren't necessarily the top line players at the same time.
yeah, no, you are right though. We still do need to keep topping up.
So it's probably like they're done with the draft for I reckon. Like they've got enough youth. So
Yeah.
it's now those 24, 25-year-old talents.
Cozzy, Chad.
Like that's what you're in the market for now, I think.
Do you like? I would argue though that you don't necessarily like based on your team on paper right now. You don't need those guys. Like obviously you'd make a play for them if you could get them.
Well, Cozzy we could use. If we get Cozzy in, we push.
How many teams in the AFL have Shea Bolton and Cozzy Pickett? Like, that's
Zero.
And
ridiculous.
Switkowski and Frederick.
Frederick.
You bring in Cozzy Pickett and it pushes out Quinton Narkle / Isaiah Dudley. It's pretty handy.
Yeah. Dudley's an interesting one because I
He's a
reckon
gun.
he's quality, but he's that like older type small forward where he's just really deep,
Yeah.
dangerous inside 450 and
So
doesn't
smart.
but
Just
doesn't,
classic small forward. Yeah.
yeah. But sometimes it's hard to carry too many of those guys. So then you like how tall's Switkowski?
God.
173.
Metre and a half.
Yeah, he's tiny, right? So then
Yeah.
you got like Dudley, you've got Switkowski. Switkowski then, if Dudley's in the team, has to play a little bit higher up the ground, which means he
is better suited to that though. That's who
playing
he
higher
is.
up the ground.
Yeah.
But then what about when he has to get involved in stoppages and stuff like that?
Brilliant. He plays centre bounce sometimes.
Switkowski.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Need to watch more Freo deal.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I don't watch.
Most people's response to that is no, I don't. But the biggest game of the weekend is tomorrow morning at Bennett's Woods Reserve, the Wattle Park Animals with some massive ins. We're going to get a dial bump with Kados.
Bloody oath, we're going to get on the board for the first time in 2025.
Keen as a bean for that. You need to come down and watch sometime, Dill. Give us a draft
I definitely
analysis.
will. I've got to go. Tomorrow we've got the Young Guns series starting.
Right.
Werribee.
Talk to us about it.
So that's the mid-season draftees. They kind of make this representative side from all the players that are going to be like eligible for the mid-season. Well, not all of
Okay.
them, but some of the best ones. And they play a game against Vic Metro and Vic Country. So that's tomorrow.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And then on Sunday, it's the Academy.
Right.
So a busy weekend of
The
under
Academy's
18.
back in Melbourne.
Yeah. Yeah. So they've got all the
Who are they playing?
top liners. They are playing Coburg this time at Whitten Oval in Footscray.
I'm going to back the Academy boys to get that done.
What do you think about Kalani White?
Kalani White, yeah, he's sort of sniffing around that top 20, top 30 area.
Yep.
I think Kalani's one of those ones where we've seen in recent drafts the kind of really like those really skinny type ruckmen that have a lot of athleticism aren't getting picked up very high. So I think for Kalani, he's going to have to make a position like either key back
Yep.
or key forward. He's going to have to make that a solid position, not just play a bit of ruck
Yep.
and a bit of one of those positions. So got a lot of talent. You would have seen him at the Dees over pre-season.
Yeah, but he might go to Gold Coast.
There's that too, isn't there?
That would be.
Yeah, he's got the option.
That I'd actually start protesting in the streets.
Really?
Yeah, well, we developed Mac Andrew, and then they changed the rules that you couldn't take NGA in the top 20,
Yep.
and then they changed it back a couple of
You
years
could have
later.
taken Riak last year. Didn't want Riak.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if we needed like a younger key position back. But yeah, it would just be hilarious if they changed the rules so we couldn't get Mac Andrews, so he goes to Gold Coast, and then that's all right, we've got a father-son coming. Oh wait, no, he's chosen to go to Gold Coast because he's trained at their academy.
History would suggest though most players in that situation would choose the father-son.
Bailey Scott did. Is that his name? Bailey Scott from North. He was in the Gold Coast Academy and he chose North.
Was he? I didn't know that. Blakey chose Academy. Nick Blakey, Lizard. Mm-hmm. He could have come to North.
Oh, wow! Don't say that.
He's a father-son.
Will Ashcroft could have not gone father-son if he wanted to, and he would have gone pick one. There was actually talk halfway through the year. He was
anyone can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, he was saying, I'm still deciding like whether I like commit to father-son or if I.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. Like throughout his draft year, that was like still open.
Yeah. Okay. I suppose they. I feel like they do that. I suppose. Yeah. Technically, anyone though, you don't have to be a father-son.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
But you want to be a father-son because it guarantees you.
Yeah, it guarantees you get drafted. But yeah, there is. I suppose you're less likely if you're a top player. You're less likely to go number one as a father-son. The only academy tied or father-son player to ever go number one is Jamara.
Mm.
He was bid on by the Crows.
But Levi Ashcroft could have probably. Will Ashcroft could have. Nick Dacos could have.
Yeah.
Like father-son.
You know what people forget in that Dacos draft?
Sam Darcy would have, but because they're father-son, you don't really touch them.
Darcy got bid on ahead of Dacos.
Yeah, right.
So the
From
Giants.
who? Oh, Giants.
The Giants, yeah. So they I suppose like on some level, they are saying that they rated Darcy over Dacos, which is an interesting one. But yeah, you like...
Poor North.
This could be a silly question, but why wouldn't you nominate for the mid-season draft as like an 18-year-old?
You can't.
You can't. Well, you have to be 19 to nominate. Like you have to go past your draft year.
Yeah. So 07 is the birth year of the national draftees.
I remember that year.
Yeah.
Early on, could you? Remember Jacob Edwards, who was like going to be pick one later in the year and then nominated for the mid-season, got picked up by North and just never got going?
Yeah, right. I don't... What was that?
I was like I think that was the first mid-season draft where he got touted like as being like a first-round draft pick and then decided to nominate halfway through the year just because
Yeah, interesting. You definitely can't do that now. I'm not sure how much they've sort of like adjusted the rules around those things. I wonder if he was like a potential number one pick but was still an overager. That would be unlikely that you would be older.
Yeah, and still number one
and still the number one pick. Like I don't think that's ever happened, but I suppose it's possible.
Remember him?
I wish to forget by the looks
no, unselected in the 2020 AFL draft.
And then he came around the next year. Yeah, okay. Yeah, interesting. But we'll just quickly do the predictions before we round out here. So I've got Adelaide tonight. You two boys?
I'm going the Dockers by 10.
Heart says Freo, head says Crows.
Saints Brisbane this at Marvel. I'm Brizzy.
I reckon the Saints.
You reckon
that would be elite. I'll go Brisbane by 20.
Yeah, I don't know. I reckon that's just one that the Saints get up for.
Yeah,
at Marvel.
That'd be sick.
Brisbane haven't been good this season. They've been winning.
True, like
the Saints will bounce back after last week as well.
Yeah, at Marvel. Yeah, Brisbane, like every game they've trailed by like 40 points.
Yeah. You wouldn't want to give that big a lead away to the Saints at Marvel. Port Adelaide and North at Adelaide Oval.
Port. That's the most Port Adelaide fixture ever, eh? Just like win by 80 points.
It's the Horn Francis Cup.
Yeah.
And he plays well and they smash us.
It's the Jared Paulette Cup.
Giants and the Bulldogs at, I think that's Manuka.
God, the Dogs looked so good last week, but I can't tip against the Giants.
Yeah, I'm the Giants, particularly up there. The Dogs, I'm hot on the Dogs though. I've been hot on them all season.
I was giving him so much shit for saying they were going to make top four, and they've played the most top four brand I've ever seen without the Bond. And then
they're good young players, the Dogs.
Yeah,
they're
good. They do.
They're great.
They've set themselves up for sustained success. Like I think they've dropped out of the 8 a couple of times, but they've been a finals team for
People criticise them because they haven't made top four with probably a top four list at times. But yeah, they keep going, don't they? Like since.
You just pick up Sam Davidson and Joel Frazier and it changes your whole list.
Exactly. Ed Richards even, we went in that 2017 draft, like in the teens. some serious players. I think they're doing well. Suns and the Swans at People's First.
Suns, yeah.
Same. I'm Suns.
Oh, I had a shit game last week.
You remember that conversation we had about the Swans? Like, I reckon we were spot on
Yeah.
in time.
Yeah.
It's
freak you, True Bloods.
yeah, exactly. They have, I mean, in fairness, like they've got big like injuries to big players. Errol Goulden, Tom Papley.
They've probably got the biggest injury list. In the
Logan
comp.
McDonald.
Yeah, Logan McDonald as well. Like, yeah.
How good? Sorry, just this feeling like coming off Anzac Day, everyone's in the rooms, got all the family there, massive game. How good would that feel? That'll be us tomorrow when we win for Wattle Park. Anyway, over to you, Dylan.
I'll take this away. All right, Carlton and the Cats.
I reckon the Blues.
Do you?
Yeah, I tipped Carlton.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. I've made this mistake before.
Just one of those fixtures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk me through.
No.
Do you have anything else on it?
No, actually, I'm going to change my tip to Geelong, actually.
I don't know. I just think it's a weird season, and that is a fixture that I wouldn't be super surprised if the Blues just pinch. MCG, Cats off a short break.
True.
That's all.
I often don't consider the short break thing. I don't look too heavily into that, but it's definitely a thing, isn't it?
Yep.
Hawks and West Coast
Next.
at Marvel. Gee, that's a stinker, isn't it?
Hawks.
Battle of the Big Birds, and the Hawks are going to maul them.
Yeah.
Look, David King's having intense conversation with Craig McRae behind the camera.
Just getting all this fodder for Fox Footy. Should we wrap it up there, boys?
Let's wrap it up.
Kados, thanks for coming on, man. Making
Dills,
your
thanks for having
debut.
me, mate.
Really appreciate that. You were awesome.
Oh, so much fun. What a setup, and you blokes are smashing it. So, Drews, Dill, thanks for having me.
Thanks,
mate. Thanks for coming on.
Big waves will be made on True Footy in the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned.
Jesse.
Hey, don't spoil it. He's coming.
All right, guys. That is a wrap for the live stream. We'll be back next week. We're not 100% sure which game, but we'll clarify that during the week. See you guys later.
Goal football.